Hey everyone, welcome back to the IWP Network, or if it's your first time, welcome hanging out with us. Thank you so much for choosing this podcast, and feedback is always welcome. So make sure to check the links below for all social media links, audio and video versions of this show, and merch. We look forward to hearing from you and hearing that feedback, and enjoy the show. Video game, yes, doesn't it?
Hello.
Hey everybody, we're back. New intro music, Billy Trey. Look at that kid, just doing it. We love that kid. Billy's a good guy. We love him to death. Let's get the fun stuff out of the way first. First off, we want to thank up in Brian's corner there. He has a poster of it on his wall. You can see it over the other side there.
We'd like to thank the doctor.
Yeah. We want to thank Abaddon Tattoo Studios as our brand new sponsor to the network. They are a unique professional experience nestled in the small town of Pine Grove, Pennsylvania. They provide high quality tattoos and piercings in a relaxed, professional, and sterile environment. You can check the links below to contact them, book appointments. It's one of those tattoo shops, and I say this every time, where just everyone in the shop is good. You can't go wrong with getting pierced or tattooed there. I just went and got a tattoo from their new apprentice, who I think she's finished her apprenticeship very, very soon, Amber. She's a great person. And we're going to have some gift cards to give away, so you can get money off a tattoo. We're going to give away some cool stuff there. We do have some local business gift cards to give away soon.
If Drew McIntyre loses at the Rumble, Tony's going to get Goldberg tattooed on him.
Oh God!
Across my chest.
I'll get the Goldberg tattoo.
But the Miz going to cash in, and then I'll just put them. I'll put awesome. I'm awesome over it.
I hope none of that happens.
I rather Miz cash in on Goldberg than Goldberg being the world champion.
I guess.
Yeah.
Would you rather get punched in the face or kicked?
Punched.
Yeah.
Oh, they both hurt.
Mm-hmm. I've been both, and I take the punch. Yeah. But we'll talk about weekly stuff on our Patreon episode. So great segue. So we're immediately following this stream. We're going to go live on Patreon. We have two Patreon tiers that you can subscribe to. There's a $1 tier, which is $1. Just throw $1 at us, and we'll plug your name like we're about to do right now. Whoa. So first off, we want to thank the Hireth and Other Worlds podcast, which is our buddy Tim. He donated $1 to get his podcast plugged. And then we want to thank Jay. We want to thank Mike Austin, but not the Austin in the chat, another Austin.
Yeah, forget this Austin here.
Yeah.
Forget that one down there.
Yeah.
Hey, get out of here, Austin.
Falling home.
Yeah, we're going to thank... Oh, actually, go back up there. I don't want to see that, Phillies. I want to thank Jennifer. Jen Myers, and Austin Blackwell, by the way. Jen Myers, and then Keith Skater, which is Keith Blackman. He was our first donator, so thank you, Keith, for that thing. It's going to help us grow. Every month we get some Patreon money, and we do have the merch back up. So if you go on Teespring, we did make a T Public, right? It lasted 20 hours, not even 18 hours.
Didn't work out.
They banned us, and I still to this day don't know what we did to get banned. So they got rid of us immediately, which was all right because it is what it is.
So
but
Teespring, right?
Yeah, so we're on Teespring.
Not confuse anybody.
Yeah, and you can go on Teespring. You can get the new logo, and we actually reissued the older stuff, so you can get all the older logos, but it's not as many things. So you can get T-shirt, long sleeve, hoodie,
That's fine.
and maybe in the summertime we'll throw it like a summer lineup where it's kind of like tank tops and stuff. Yeah, the main logo will be on most things, and then the bonus logos will be on, and the old logos will be on just limited items. So if you buy anything from the merch, also send us a photo of you wearing it. It's super, super helpful. If you are watching this now, make sure you share us wherever you're watching, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, all of them. Give us some shares, some likes, and show us some love. And last bit of news we want to say is we want to welcome back full-time to the podcast, Austin.
What's going on, everyone? You know, the champion. Haven't defended my belt in a long time with the predictions. Those were a while ago, but it feels good to be back. Feels good to be welcomed back into the network, and I'm excited to get rolling with y'all.
Yeah. And after the Patreon episode, Austin and I are going to do our Sixers podcast.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So with that being said, we will be we'll be coming back to pro wrestling scorecards, and we'll start doing that again. Maybe that'll be a Patreon episode where we do it. Also, we're looking to maybe the way that it works now is the shows are every Friday. And the show, depending on what month. So like last month, Truth Behind Illusion got 2 shows. Next month, Not Cool in High School got 2 shows. And the month after, Tornado Tag will get 2 episodes because it just works out that way. But we may add in a Sunday or Saturday show here and there. It'll kind of be like, hey, we're going live today. And it'll be like a last minute thing. But that may vary. It may be a show with just me and Andy. It may be a show with me and Bryan. Maybe me and Austin. And we'll be doing all that fun stuff. So I know some people are bummed we're not a weekly thing anymore, but we will be back and doing more content very soon.
And March is a great month to do 2 shows. That's the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly. So a lot of fun stuff. And this week we're going to be talking about the Rumble, but we also did a giveaway that we started. It is full. I would like to say it's completely full. I have 30 people.
I was gonna say we're still doing it.
Yeah, we're still doing the giveaway, but there's no longer entries. So what we're going to do is we have our 2 older banners that we used to hang up. And 30 people are in the men's Rumble, 30 people in the women's Rumble. If you want to find out your entry, if you did enter, they are posted. And some people got some good numbers, some real good numbers. So we'll see who wins those. And if you do win, I will be reaching out.
When you watch the Rumble, we have to write down the number when that person comes out.
Yeah, when that person comes out. Yeah, we'll
the
definitely.
whole thing. Like just have 1 through 30.
Yep.
Luckily, with the WWE Network now, you can just easily rewind. It's not like back in the early 90s where it's just live pay-per-view, and then unless you're taping it, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You got to wait for PWI to come out.
Yeah.
So I will be messaging you
3 months later.
Whoever wins to send you your banner when you win. If you didn't win and you still want a banner, like I said, they are on Teespring. So let's is there anything you guys want to put out there? Let's do our plugs early. Just so we're not waiting until the end of the show. Andy, you got anything you want to put out there or talk about?
Not really.
You got Not Cool in High School.
Yeah, I mean, which is all I'm sure you're gonna plug anyway.
Yeah. So you could check Andy out on 2 other shows in the network, or you can go buy T-shirts from him over at Pro Wrestling Tees. And
they have an app now. Pro Wrestling Tees has an app now.
I haven't checked the app out.
The app is
I don't know
nice.
if you guys have just checked out the app. If only they could maybe put a break on the shipping.
Yeah, it's a lot of shipping. But,
I know.
And they do have a new crate. Oh, there's a crate coming out. So we have 2 unboxing. We're doing
Okada's
tonight
in the
too.
new one, right?
Okada's in the new one. Yeah,
I'm
it's gonna be
excited.
really good.
I tried to sign up, but you cannot use PayPal. You have to use a credit card.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to do that because then I guess it does automatic every month. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to use my card. I guess I could, but
we do have a reference code. I don't know if we still have it in the links below. We probably don't. If you want to get a pro wrestling crate and you want to use our reference, let us know.
that
And
current
we'll
one
send
has
it to you.
Thunder Rosa in it.
Yeah,
The one
Comic
that's coming. Yeah.
Literally Thunder Rosa.
we will.
I don't know how they fit her in the box. It's amazing.
Yeah,
you can do with shipping these days.
That's the exclusive. But yeah, so we'll do unboxings after our Patreon, and I have 2 of them to do. I have Pro Wrestling Loot and Pro Wrestling Crate. The crate room was probably my favorite pro wrestling crate so far.
Cool.
It was really good.
They're worth it for the price.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get 2 shirts.
Austin, what do you got to plug?
You know, the usual. Haven't said it myself in a minute, but Farlow's closed the rest of the week, but I believe they're reopening this coming week. So, and in general, just support local while you still can.
And Loco.
Yeah,
there's a lot of local, so that works out.
Got
Bernie Sanders hanging out in front of Farlow's with his sub. He was happy.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders is currently taking the world, and tomorrow the world will hate him because they've seen him so many times.
Yeah.
So it's gonna
Oh my God, that's true.
Yeah. He sat right there in that chair. Photos don't lie. You can't Photoshop anything.
I have his sticker just to the right, but it's one from 2016. Or to the left even. But it's camera right. Burner, my dude. As always, I do a comedy true crime podcast. You can find it at projecthumanoid.com. Just look up Murder My Dude on social media. Upcoming, we have the next 2 weeks will be a 2-parter for episode 99 and 100, the Zodiac Killer. Yes. No.
I'm guaranteeing there will be some Brutus Beefcake references in there.
No.
They always sneak in
Zodiac.
No.
Matter of fact, I did steal the whole plugs in the beginning because of Murder My Dude. I thought it was a good idea. So complete credit.
It's a good idea when we remember to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you guys get rolling and it just goes.
It's a bit of a freight train.
Chug and chug.
A train.
Yes, the $5 wrestling champion, Freight Train.
Freight Train.
All righty. Well, let's got the notes here. Let's I'll turn it over to you, Brian. What do we got here for WrestleMania? Are you got some?
We're talking about the Rumble, the Royal Rumble. I was kind of sad, Tony, that you didn't read everybody's name on that list like Vince McMahon used to read everybody in the Rumble at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. Oh, that would
you would have had no voice for the rest of the year.
Maybe that's the next tier in the Patreon.
Yeah,
next
year.
year
Read like Vince
Yeah.
at the beginning of the Rumble.
Yeah, and like I said, that'd be 60 times I'd have to read names twice. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of names.
It's a lot of names. But if you're in the chat, say hi to us. We got Mindmaster from Twitch saying hi. We got Brian Russell. Brian Russell is actually the 30th entry in the men's Rumble this year.
Wow.
So he has one of the highest percentage chances to win.
I don't know which Rumble it is, but if it was a real Rumble, either men's or the women's, those PA pile driver people would have been able to gang up on everybody at the end because they're like 26, 27, 29, and 30 or something like that.
The women's Rumble.
That's it, yeah.
Spot is Curtis. The 28th spot is Millie from the
cool.
left side. The 29th spot is Mario from the from Pile Driver, and number 30 is Chris from PA Pile Driver. So they are.
I call it Ted DiBiase, or somebody bought those numbers. Somebody slipped some money in Tony's pockets and paid for a good drawing.
Well, whoever's getting the Fiend is
yeah.
the band.
Alex is in the chat. What's going on, Alex? I will say this: Chris and Mario just had me on their podcast. Welcome back. So maybe they greased my
Back Cotter podcast.
So instead of every time they end the show, instead of saying goodbye, they just say, all right, well, and they just end the show and they said, hey, welcome back. Like so their show is like welcome you back to the next one.
What is the show about?
So they kind of just do like a personal one where they just talk about each other and what they've been doing with their lives. But now they're going out and doing guest spots. And I was one of their first. I was their first guest spot. I kind of talked about why I started podcasting and everything.
A slice of life podcast.
Yeah, it's fun. I think it's good if you start your podcast out that way, and it's like, hey, this podcast is going to be pretty much us rekindling keeping our friendship alive and just having conversations we wouldn't normally have. Like they don't say like, hey, we're going to review a movie or a TV show, or we're going to talk about politics. It's just them talking.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good show. I enjoy it, so I want to thank those guys for having me on.
Hey, there's a quite popular show about someone who just talks. It's called Howard Stern.
Yeah, he does a great job. Yeah. Alex tried to buy some numbers, but I said my integrity is too high, Alex.
The big dollar.
Yeah, I have to see where Alex is here real quick.
Tony has two eyes: intensity and integrity.
Yeah,
2 eyes.
Again, how it works if you have number 12,
Austin got the joke.
and then number 12 is Rhea Ripley, and she's the women's Rumble, and she wins, then you win the belt.
Yes, and I really want to say one thing real quick to the PA Pile Driver podcast. They kind of were talking about NXT, and they said they don't understand how we like Io Shirai. They do not like her at all, and
have they not watched the match?
I think they're crazy. I think they're out of control. They're absolutely crazy. They're big Rhea Ripley fans. I get that. She's great, but Io's probably one of the best women wrestlers in the world.
Really good.
Am I wrong? Are we wrong?
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Hello, Billy. Good to see Billy Trey.
Wow.
Billy Trey, our intro music, hanging out with us tonight. And Alex, I want to thank, if you go over, check out High Tension Wrestling, they have this really cool shirt I'm wearing where it looks like an OnlyFans, but it says Only Wrestling and it says High Tension on the
bottom.
bottom.
Might not be able to see on the
You'll see it in the high quality photo at the end, but go support High Tension Wrestling and Alex, everything he's doing there. I got my new Kilowatt mask. I wore it all day at work. It was very comfortable and kept me safe. So thank you, Alex.
And not only that, but we usually, when we talk about Camp Leapfrog, which High Tension's involved with, normally we're talking about IWTV, but GCW, if anybody is familiar with GCW, they do Bloodsport, they do Joey Janela's Spring Break, they do a lot of things. They are doing a 24-hour stream, as my dog sneezes in the background, called Fight Forever. And I think all the proceeds are going to the wrestlers. It's like a thing where they've gotten a lot of sponsorship. And Alex will correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I believe it is Saturday at 9 a.m. and it's streaming for free on Fight TV and on YouTube. GCW Fight Forever is having Camp Leapfrog as part of it. And they're doing, I believe they teased a Cibernetico, which is a match. It's from Mexico. It's been done in Chikara a lot. It is Survivor Series on steroids, and when Chikara did it was 8 versus 8, and in this one I believe it's going to be 9 versus 9. Dasher Hatfield and his estranged father, a very good professional wrestler, are the captains. 8 people on each team besides them, And it's also like baseball a bit, where Cybernetico has a batting order. Like you have a certain order where you have to tag that other person in.
Yeah.
And it's an elimination. So once one team is completely eliminated, everybody else in the other team goes against each other, and there is one winner. So that'll be, and Alex will correct me if I'm wrong, 9 a.m. on Saturday, the day before the Royal Rumble. Not this Saturday, next Saturday. On YouTube and Fight TV.
Put the link in the chat for anyone that might want to.
Yes, and Brian, I was going to get to you. Yes, Bernie Sanders he took his meme and put it on a sweatshirt and T-shirt, and he. Because obviously it's a hot meme right now, and he put it on a T-shirt, which is smart. He pulled a wrestling move. He pulled an elite, and he put it on a T-shirt, and all of the proceeds are going to a charity. So
the Bernie Sanders charity. No, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so good for Bernie.
Yeah.
All the proceeds, not just 1%.
Not just 1%.
Not just the top 1% is going to get that proceeds.
The other 99% are also going to go to the charity.
Yeah, come on. He's hilarious. Yes, thank you, Brian, for bringing it up. And Alex, once again, thank you so much. Check out Camp Leapfrog. Really excited. Hopefully next one rolls around. I'm really excited about it. And I didn't get a chance to see the Valentine's Day one yet. So I have to, I went to log into
I think it comes out on Valentine's Day.
Well, not the Valentine's Day one. The
retro. Yeah.
I missed it. I had to go back and rewatch that one.
Was that on?
Yeah.
Live?
They had a Facebook Live, and then it was on.
Oh, okay.
On IWTV. I went to log in, and for some reason they just didn't take my payment, so I have to like redo my card.
That's weird.
Yeah, I might have gotten today, so my bank may be fucked up.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, I was on Facebook and I seen an ad. This has nothing to do with wrestling. I'm just gonna say this real quick, but I was on Facebook and I seen an ad for GoPro, and they're like the GoPro 9 on sale right now for $89, and I went, that's a $500 camera. So I click on it, and sure enough, $89. Put it in cart, check out. It wouldn't take my card. Like I said, error.
Yeah. Did you look at the website?
And then I'm looking at the website. I'm like, it's not GoPro. It's a fake. It's a fake website. And I was like, so I called my bank and they're like, nothing's here yet. Yeah. But we'll keep an eye on it. So I was like, oh my God, please don't let me get hacked, because I'm literally waiting pending payment for my new Xbox, which I got. And I'm like, if I have to cancel my card and then GameStop cancels my order and I don't get the new,
just saw that right away.
I will find who made that website and I will cut your testicles
Plus,
off.
then you have to change all your info and all your things, because they're going to give you a different card number.
Yeah.
And throw you over the top rope.
Yeah, I will be really pissed. One other thing before we get into the Rumble here real quick.
So the moral of the story is, anytime you see something on the internet, make sure you check out the website.
Yeah, didn't do it. I seen a $500 camera for $89 and I got really excited. So that was on me. I usually more careful, but I got pumped.
Do your due diligence.
Yes.
And your Doug Dillinger.
And your Doug.
Did you play the new wrestling game?
I played it for a little bit, and you know what I was consumed with? Changing the names back to what they should be.
Yes.
That's all I got. I fell asleep and I forgot about it.
So there's a Wrestling Empire on the Nintendo Switch. It was on sale for $15. It's now, I think, 20 brand new. And it's I don't want to say a No Mercy clone, but it's as close as you're going to get.
Yeah.
Without using that engine. And it has a huge roster.
Yeah, and
it's humongous.
Like what was Dolph Ziggler's name? Ralph
Ziggler.
Yeah,
Ralph Figler or something.
Austin, this is an M. Dickey game.
Oh, I'm fully aware of this.
Yeah. So this game, like Triple H, you name a wrestler, he's in it.
Tanahashi, Naito, Okada.
But it just, their names are different.
Yeah.
The faces are perfect.
And their gear is exactly the same.
And all you have to do is just change the color. Like Kane's in there.
Yeah.
And it's Kane, but just purple.
Yeah, and you can edit the gear and everything.
Yeah. And you can literally just go through the whole roster and make everyone the way they are. And it's literally old school WWE,
Edge,
new WWE, AEW, New Japan, all in one video game.
Sometimes like an AEW person will be WWE. But
yeah. But it's fun. It's a fun game, and it's super cheap, and it's on the Switch. And also, I believe next month, let's go.
Oh,
excuse me. I'm sorry. That was me. I have the sniffles a little bit. I didn't get a chance to turn away from the mic. I usually do. I apologize.
The Retromania is coming out next month.
Oh, it's probably coming out.
I believe so. I could be wrong, but I think that comes out next month.
Look forward to it.
But all right, let's get into the Royal Rumble.
The Royal Rumble. Well, actually, let's start before the Royal Rumble.
There is a link right there. Indiegogo or Indiegogo.com.
Indiegogo.
Yeah, there it is right there. And the link is in the chat. It's all below. If you want to watch that, I know if you're on YouTube and stuff, you don't see that. So I'm going to put it in the chat. So just go to Indiegogo.com, and I'm sure it'll be on their page. You don't have to remember everything there. But yeah, there you go, 24-hour GCW. And I know personally, Alex has said when he wanted to do a company and he wanted to start High Tension, like obviously his dreams were kind of not crushed, but put on hold because of COVID. And instead of just like finding a way to be defeated, he's like, how can I rise above this and keep doing more? And then him and the high tension team with him and the Maestro came up with Camp Leapfrog, jumped on IWTV, and a company he always dreamed of working with or doing stuff with is GCW. So this is a huge check mark for him to get like something he wanted. You know what I mean? Like for us, even being welcomed in the door of a pot. I mean, you're welcome to every wrestling show, but for me to get welcomed into a wrestling show, I was like, holy crap, I'm backstage at a wrestling show. This is crazy. And that's a goal I hit, and I'm happy. Like his goal was to work with GCW, and he did it. And I'm really, really happy, man. And I'm happy, and you have a lot of cool shit coming up, and I'm proud of you, and I love you to death, man. He's a really good dude, and he has a new podcast coming out called High Tension Wellness, where it's going to be a lot about mental health and taking care of your body as well as your mind and doing the right things and being working on yourself, because it's very important.
What is it called? High Tension Wellness?
High Tension Wellness, yep. So they have a Facebook group and all that. So if you follow Alex or High Tension, you'll find all of that stuff.
No, that's a really cool podcast, especially like still being in the times that we're in right now. Like I know just like this past month alone, mental health help has been very important for me, and self help. So like, yeah, absolutely tune into that podcast. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. So all right, let's get into the Rumble.
Well, let's go to the origins of the Rumble, and for that you have to go to San Francisco, which was Roy Shire's territory. They run the Cow Palace a lot. And their big thing every year, they started this in the early 70s, was a battle royal in January. Stop me if this sounds familiar. But they would use it to set up the angle. It wasn't like the late entry like the Rumble is. It was I think it was an 18-man battle royal. To bring back somebody we talked about last year in February, the winner of the first one was Bearcat Wright. And they would set up all their angles. They did this whole thing where they said all the wrestlers put up money, and the promoter would put up money, and then the winner would get all this money. But one of the guys who was in a lot of these battle royals, he was one of the biggest stars ever in San Francisco, was Pat Patterson. And when he came over to WWF and he became Vince McMahon's right-hand man, in January of 1988, or shortly before that, the Jim Crockett Promotions, WWF's big rival at the time, they were going on pay-per-view for the first time, and they were going on with something called Bunkhouse Stampede. And Bunkhouse Stampede was it's the second time I think they were on pay-per-view. It was a battle royal. Like, you would come dressed in jeans, you would have the knee pads over your jeans. It was like, come as you are.
You take you tape your boots to your jeans for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I was watching on the network the Attitude Era Rumbles, and the one where Austin kind of like was the showcase.
Right.
He dominated, and he was like, it was like his launching pad after the King of the Ring.
97, I believe that would be.
Yeah. Patterson, Briscoe, Moolah, and somebody else are all in the front row, camera side.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
They put all them camera side in the crowd. It was very interesting to see that.
Yeah, and the Royal Rumble is very much Pat Patterson's baby, and he was the guy who really put it all together. And they put it together like a lot of the things, pay-per-views besides SummerSlam and WrestleMania, they put them together mainly to screw with Jim Crockett. Survivor Series was there so they could run a pay-per-view against Starrcade. And so the Royal Rumble was there so they could do something to go against this Bunkhouse Stampede show. And so they did a test run in St. Louis in 1987. The one-man gang won it. It was like 12 minutes long. The crowd was not good at all. They'd get like less than 2,000 people. And they still ran with it. And the first Rumble was in 1988. It was a USA Network special. And before the Rumble itself, it was the only time, this was the only Royal Rumble show where they ever defended the WWF Women's Tag Titles, which didn't last long.
No.
And the Jumping Bomb Angels beat the Glamour Girls for the Women's Tag Titles, 2 out of 3 falls. That night, Dino Bravo set his strongman record with Jesse Ventura helping him.
The bench press.
The first person to ever enter a Royal Rumble on TV, Bret Hart, he was number 1. Tito Santana was number 2. It was only a 20-man Rumble that was won by, of course, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, last eliminating the one-man gang.
Yep.
And then the next year was 89. This is the first one on pay-per-view. Literally, this is the first pay-per-view I ever saw live.
Real quick, if they knew what they knew today, do you think Hacksaw would have been their first ever Rumble winner?
No.
It would have been hoping.
Hindsight being 2021.
Yeah. And of course, with the world title.
Yeah.
You just won the Rumble, that's all.
And when they went to pay-per-view in 1989, the first Rumble winner on pay-per-view would not have been Big John Studd.
No.
But they did use it.
I wish it was the runner-up.
Like they did use this to advance storylines for WrestleMania 5 because the big thing that happened was Hogan and Savage got in the dust up. They had Jake throwing the snake to get Andre out. So you did plant seeds for a lot of matches at WrestleMania, and that was what the Rumble was for. It was just to set up feuds and to set up angles and things like that. So you set up a lot of matches. But yeah, like Ted DiBiase, his thing was he bought the number 30. That was a joke we were making earlier about them buying the numbers in the women's Rumble for the PA Pile Driver people.
Yeah, Chris's check cleared first, Mario. I'm sorry.
And there were some other things too in this that were interesting. We had the super pose down, which is just like a bodybuilding contest between Rick Rude, the Ultimate Warrior, where Rick Rude's actually posing, and then Ultimate Warrior just starts beating his chest and running around. And the crowd says that Warrior won the pose down, so Rick Rude beat him with the weight lift, like he had the Mr. T thing where you would bend it like you're strong.
Yeah.
And he just beat Warrior with it, and that set up their Intercontinental title match.
And that's when he wore his wife on his trunks.
Well, the Warrior that was Jake Roberts who did that too. And
I thought Rick Rude had Warrior's wife on his trunks.
No, that was
nobody knew Warrior's wife back then. I don't even know if Warrior was married back then. That was Jake.
Oh, my bad.
That was Jake. And then that was also the pay-per-view one in '89. That was also Harley Race's final WWF match. He lost to King Haku in a match for the crown.
Rude put Warrior on his trunks.
Yes,
that's
and
what.
then the title.
Yeah, he had Warrior on his ass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it the crotch?
I forget. But I know when you took the Intercontinental title off, like the Intercontinental title is still there. On his trunk.
Yeah.
You should get tights made like that.
I know. That'd be awesome.
when you win that Outbreak title.
Yeah. The Outbreak title on the. Hey, we got a new shirt coming out. I forgot. I've seen the line work
of
for me and Matt Turner.
Really?
Yeah.
When's the solo Andy shirts coming?
I don't know. I'm holding off because I can't sell them at a taping.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I do something.
You can sell them on Teespring.
I could, yeah. I could upload them there, but like I want to.
I think a lot of people want your solo shirts.
I want it, but like, I want to be able to sell it on a show.
Yeah.
Like, here's my shirt. Well, you can get it. Well, I can mail you one. It's like I guess I could do that, but the new one looks pretty cool. It's themed. It's not X-Men.
Is it comic book related?
No.
Really?
Your first might be something else dorky related.
Video game.
Moving on.
Dude, I'll tell you what.
It's awesome. I was like, whoa. Our friend Alex Sanchez that does the G.I. Joe comic, it's coming out in March.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah. So
we should get him on.
We can, yeah.
Yeah, we should get him on.
Talk about art.
Cool.
Talk about his what he's done lately.
I'm actually really excited.
He's a big Star Wars guy.
Yeah, I'm really excited
Joe guy.
to say this, and I know this is not the right show, but I don't know if you ever heard of the company Fright Rags. Are you guys familiar with the team?
No, I'm not.
So Fright Rags is like
horror
and pop culture shirts, and they're really, really popular. Like they have a pretty big following. They're going to be on Not Cool in High School next week.
Nice.
Like, the owner and creator of Fright Rags is going to be on Not Cool, which is that's a cool get for us. Like we order a lot. I have a lot of Fright Rag shirts. And Nikolai probably
he was wearing one the other day.
He should probably have stock in them, but that's a pretty big get for us. But yeah, we are opening up more.
Turn it back to wrestling. They do have a They Live shirt.
They do.
Yeah.
I have some day. But anyway, the Pro Wrestling Tees, the new Kenny Omega shirt is Mega Man inspired.
Awesome.
It's so good. So good. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Brad.
Speaking of They Live real quick, I've been watching some of those wrestling challenge shows on the network that just put up from 1986. And it's like right when Piper came back from They Live. And
there is a They Live item in our Pro Wrestling crate this month, too.
Oh, wow. Nice. And so 1990, bringing up Piper, this was Piper's first Rumble. And they set up the angle for WrestleMania 6 with him and Bad News Brown. They both eliminated each other. 90 was also the first submission match. Ronnie Garvin beat Greg Valentine in a submission match. First submission match at the Rumble, I should say. The Rumble itself is Hogan wins. This is before it's like a title shot's on the line. Hogan was the champion at this point, and he still wins the Rumble.
I don't know, but definitely the first, not to interrupt Bryan, they had a thing where I guess they said in the back, hey, if you're a face, only hit the heels. And if you're a heel, only hit the faces. Because in that match, not one time does a face hit a face. It's so crazy. I was watching, I was like, wait a minute. Like they went right by him. It's like, what is going on here? And I think kind of the Hogan one, and then someone got smart enough and said, we gotta do something.
It's also kind of like that's been built off of, because then in like the later years they start to get into like SmackDown versus Raw and who wins it for that show. Yeah. So it's a progression. But
if you go back to the 89 Rumble, they set it up as every man for himself, and they made it a point like the first two guys out are Axe and Smash, and they just beat each other up. And then Andre's number 3, and then they just beat up Andre.
That's true.
chicken teeth in. What am I sticking? They also used to do that cool promo, which I wish they would bring back, where it would be like 12 minutes long, and every guy in the match gets to like, even if it's 10 seconds, just to say, "I'm Hercules and I'm going to win the Rumble." It's like, some guys sucked, some guys are really good, but it was so entertaining.
Yeah.
And the most famous one is the British Bulldog, who was going to win the Royal Rumble because he was bizarre.
Yeah. Who said, "I'm going to win this Rumble Royal"?
Yeah. They really had their shit together.
Yeah.
So in 1990, Hogan eliminates Mr. Perfect, who probably should have won the Rumble. And DiBiase, he got his comeuppance. He bought number 30 the year before. This year he's number 1. But he's the first real Iron Man of the Rumble. He lasted 47 minutes before he got tossed out. And then
more.
And then in 1991, we get the first WWF title change at the Rumble. Slaughter beats the Ultimate Warrior for the WWF title with a big assist from Randy Savage, because Randy Savage got an agreement from Slaughter that Slaughter would give him a title shot, but Warrior would not. So he helped Slaughter win, and then he didn't get his title shot anyway. And guess who won the Rumble again?
Yep.
Hogan must pose.
Man, like, how about almost like, I mean, back then people ate it up and they loved it and they probably thought it was the greatest thing because Hogan won it. But like in today's times, you go back to back like that, people be like, I'm not even excited for next year.
I don't know who would get right now. You'd have to be really over the fans.
Yeah.
Like maybe Finn Balor won twice, maybe like something like that.
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, Dan Bryan.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Maybe because he could win it from a heel perspective, people would be happy about it, and then he could win it as a face too.
I'm trying so hard not to input this year's Rumble, but that'll be on the Patreon. We're going to talk about what we think is going to happen on this Wrestle. So if you want to join the Patreon, go do so, and you go check out that bonus episode.
But there isn't many people,
and it is live. It is a live episode. You can watch live at the time.
Yeah, there's not many people right now that could win 2 Rumbles back to back and not have the fans that's totally shit on.
Yeah. Or like a mega baby face.
Yeah. The Slim Pickens.
I mean, Roman won it, like almost tore the place apart. Yeah. But go ahead.
So the Iron Man here is Rick Martel, and I think this is the Rumble, or maybe it was the year before, that also started the tradition of anytime Rick Martel was in a Rumble and Tito Santana was also in the Rumble, Tito Santana would do everything he could to kill Rick Martel for years. This is also the only Rumble appearance of Shane Douglas. And Hulk Hogan, in addition to winning, also had the most eliminations with 7. In 1992, in my opinion, in a lot of people's opinion, the best Rumble ever. And the WWF title is on the line. They had a screwy finish with Undertaker Hulk Hogan on this Tuesday in Texas. So with this one, the WWF title is on the line in the Rumble. And it's Ric Flair getting the win from number 3, which
not my favorite, but it is the best Royal Rumble art of all time. It is. That promo art is the one that was
looking like the Warriors. Yeah,
it was. Is that the one where everybody's on it? Amazing. That art should be spoofed
every year. They did one time with like.
Didn't Marvel Comics kind of spoof it when they kind of made their roster look like that one year?
I think they did, or maybe they even came up with it first. I know there's one with like Batista and John Cena, like 2005ish.
That had everybody on it like that. It's the single best piece of wrestling art ever. Like if I ever found it like on a canvas print, I would buy it.
The match itself was really good, and it goes almost it's over an hour.
Is that the one?
Yeah, half, maybe 2, almost close to 2.
It's a little over an hour because Flair came in at 3 and he was in there for an hour and 2 seconds.
Okay.
Is this the Rumble where Macho Man? Sorry to make you look bad here, Savage, but isn't this the one where he tries to pin Yokozuna and
No, that was 90. That was next year. This is the one, but this is. Thank you for bringing that up because I forgot this and I didn't put it in my notes here. This is the middle of a 3-year string where Savage looks dumb at the Rumble. Or actually, no, it's 2 out of 3 years. Oh, no, I'm right. No, it's a 3-year in a row. 91 is when Savage cost Warrior the title, and he doesn't come out. Like the horn goes off, you see the curtain move, but nobody comes out. And it was like Savage. They said he was so afraid of the Warrior, he's not even going to go out in the Rumble. He's running away. Yeah. 92, Savage is a babyface now, and he's in that blood feud with Jake Roberts because Jake ruined his wedding reception, and he slapped Elizabeth, and he had his Cobra bite him. So Savage is so angry at Jake that he goes after Jake after he eliminates him, and he jumps over the top rope, which means he should have eliminated himself.
Yep.
And they had to like quick say, "Oh no, you can't eliminate yourself," even though people do years later. You couldn't hear because Savage just went into business for himself. And then the year after that was when he tried to pin Yokozuna.
Yeah, that's what it was. He tried to. He actually eliminates
It made
himself
sense
this year.
for what they were trying to do. Like, oh, that pushed me up over the top rope. And it's like, yeah, but why would you pin me? Like, they didn't. Like the end made sense, but the beginning doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
This Rumble, though, so star-studded. 10 of the 30 people in this Rumble were either the NWA World Champion, the WCW World Champion, the AWA World Champion, or the WWE World Champion. A third of the Rumble.
That's crazy.
And then the people who weren't ever champion like that are some of them are amazing. You have British Bulldog, Tito Santana, Greg Valentine, Roddy Piper, Jake Roberts, Jimmy Snuka, and last but not least, Repo Man.
Oh man,
I just read your notes and seen how you like set that up with like name after name, and then I see what you did there.
hey, Rico
Yeah.
was mid
He was a great tag team wrestler.
NWA champ. What was that? Mid Atlantic.
Yeah, Crusher Khrushchev was a Mid-Atlantic champion, yeah.
Take the Snakes, Jimmy Snuka, and the Reaper.
This is so star-studded, and then like, what is it? 3 years later, it's not star-studded.
No.
at all.
No.
It's awful. But anyway,
Yeah. And so another thing off the Rumble itself, Flair wins. He eliminates Sid Justice at the very end with Hogan's help. DiBiase and Bulldog are 1 and 2 here. Flair had the most eliminations with 5. In the very beginning of this,
He's the
before
earliest entry to go that long. As well.
Yeah, everybody that won before this was, I think, in the 20s, because Stud was like 27. Hogan's not working a long night. He's going to come in at the end, and he won the other 2. Yeah, it was unheard of. And Monsoon really sold it. Like, Flair, the lactic acid is building up in his thighs, and it was just Flair just basically getting beat up by everybody, taking everybody's moves. Heenan's freaking out. It's the best commentary job in the history of wrestling, because Heenan is like, I'll be good. Like, I won't do anything bad. Just let Flair win. He's bargaining. He's going through the 5 stages of grief, and then Flair finally wins it. It is my favorite Royal Rumble ever. It's one of my favorite matches ever, and it's the best commentary job ever.
it's widely regarded as the best.
Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously going to say a different one is my favorite for exclusive reasons, but this is
95.
I'm not.
No.
Yeah. We'll get to it why it's my favorite, but this.
Goodbye. This is the greatest night of my life.
But realistically,
Put that cigarette up.
putting bias aside, this is one of the greatest
I feel
Rumbles.
like when John Cena
This is the
came
greatest-
back,
this is the
number
greatest
30.
That was the greatest Rumble. This is the great Rumble. There's one other one.
Tony thinks the greatest Royal Rumble was the greatest Royal Rumble,
Oh, the greatest-
which I did not put in this. I forgot about it, actually.
I mean,
I forgot about 2. No, I enjoyed the first one. Second one, not so much.
yeah.
I enjoyed the greatest Royal Rumble. Daniel Bryan getting chopped for about a half hour.
Oh, yeah. Roddy killed him.
That was wasn't there 2?
There's only the one greatest Royal Rumble.
There was 2.
No.
That just the one Braun won. They did a battle royal the other time. That Mansoor dude won it.
Okay,
It was like a 60-man battle royal or something like that.
yeah, it was a Royal Rumble.
I mean, in '92, no one fell on the Roy running into the ring and slid underneath it.
No,
No,
Which is hilarious.
yeah.
Bobby Heenan is just so good in that. The announcing, the Bobby Heenan announcing in '92. Oh my God.
love that. That's why I said replay it. God damn it.
He was back there. He said he was like an 8. He was like a fucking 6.
Well, they did that at another Rumble. But we'll get to it, and it's going to be in a couple of years here.
Yeah, what's going on? Jen, our Patreon supporter there. Thank you for hanging out with us.
1993. This is the first time they do the stipulation where, and from here on in, it's been like this except for 1 year. The winner of this match will get the title shot at WrestleMania. Before that, though, the Steiner brothers, this was their first pay-per-view match. They beat the Beverly Brothers. For the WWF title, Bret Hart beat Razor Ramon. For the Intercontinental title, Shawn Michaels beat Marty Jannetty in a very, very good match. Some notable people who you might not think of for wrestling as like regular people that were in this Rumble. You had Giant Gonzalez doing a run-in on The Undertaker in his debut. You had Genichiro Tenryu, the legendary Japanese wrestler. This is his first of 2 Rumbles. He was in the 94 Rumble too. You had Damien Demento.
Ooh, Damien Demento from the outer reaches of your mind.
And you had the Puerto Rican legend Carlos Colon, Carlito's father, if you remember, or Primo's father, Epico's uncle.
The originator of the Universal title, or like the title of the universe.
That was the first title ever called the Universal title.
Yeah.
And he probably also had Bruiser Brody killed.
Yeah.
And he also probably murdered.
Well, he didn't murder him. He gave it the green light.
Charles Manson
Allegedly.
Yeah, Charles Manson is arrested for murder.
Yeah.
He's a murderer.
Okay.
Somebody else should be arrested for murder. Yokozuna, as we were mentioning earlier, did get the win here over Randy Savage because Randy goes for the pin, they kick out, and Savage goes flying over the top. Even though Flair won the Rumble
again, he jumped over the top again.
Yeah, he jumped. Yeah, this time it counts though because he got propelled, I guess.
Yokozuna is one of the best rookie of the years of all time. Besides, he had a great first 2 years in the company.
Yeah, the first 6 months he was a champion. Yeah. Even though it was only for 5 minutes, and then he won the title back. And Yoko was the first pretty much long-term heel champion since Billy Graham.
Yep.
See, I accidentally said support Loco when I meant support Yoko.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what you also had here was Bob Backlund breaking Ric Flair's record. He came in, he was number 2, I think. Flair was 1, Backlund was 2. This was a slightly longer Rumble, so even though Backlund didn't win, he was in a little less than a minute longer than Flair was the year before. And Yoko had 7 eliminations, too. They just made him look like a monster.
We should put a petition in for that Farlow's place. If you order a full sub, it's called the Yokozuna.
That should be a challenge. There's the hole, the half the hole in the Yokozuna.
The Yokozuna.
1.5.
Well, write down my notebook right.
And you get a discount if after you eat it you yell bonsai.
And then just fall to the floor.
If you don't know what Farlow's, a half is enough to feed you and your family, and a full is enough to feed the entire county.
And
it's what, $11-12 for a full? It's super, and it the meat is packed in there that's unbelievable.
But the trick with what happens is it'll be a challenge. If you finish it in a certain amount of time, it's free. But if you get really close, Jeff comes from behind the counter and throws salt in your eyes so you can't finish it.
Yep.
He would love that.
Oh my god, yeah. So meat being packed in things, whether it's a hoagie roll or a wrestling ring.
There you go.
Yeah. Served it up for you.
So then we move on to 1994, and this is the only Rumble, and I think they've acknowledged this was not a good idea, with co-winners. Bret Hart and Lex Luger both won this one. Bret wrestled earlier tonight. The Quebecers beat Bret and Owen for in a tag title match, and Owen turned on Bret. He kicked his leg right out from under his leg. Yokozuna beat The Undertaker in a casket match. We talked about that last month.
Last year's Rumble is the one where they finally set in stone where if you win the Rumble, you get a title shot, right?
Yeah, that was 93. 94, that is also it. But two people won, and they wound up both getting the title shot.
Yeah.
And then Tenru is again in this Rumble. The Great Kabuki is in this Rumble, too. They are Mr. Fuji's hired guns to try to make sure Lex Luger doesn't win, but he still won.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say this is also the birth of the Diesel push. He eliminated 7 guys, and it took 7 guys to throw him out.
Yeah, I don't like this Rumble.
It's
the only not great
Rumble I remember vividly is this is the Rumble where my friend had nightmares for a month.
Oh, because the Undertaker?
Yes. Scared the shit out of him. When they had the camera in the casket, fucked him up.
And Luger totally won that Rumble. Bret's feet hit first.
Yeah. They did. Totally hit first.
They tried to do the best they could.
It's like the AJ Styles and Luke Harper spot on SmackDown where they both were supposed to hit at the same time.
Yeah. That's a tough spot to try to pull off.
The only one they got it right, and they would have used some video magic, was Hogan and Orndorff in that cage match.
Yeah.
Now, what about 2005's Rumble? We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we will. 1995, Fast Rumble, Bad Rumble. Let's go through it fast. It was 1 minute between wrestlers. Shawn Michaels and Bulldog are number 1 and number 2, and they're the last 2 at the end.
That's all that mattered.
It was a bunch of Josh.
And Shawn Michaels cheated his ass off in this match.
No,
he bribed the sound guy. Because Bulldog throws Michaels out and his music plays. and Shawn Michaels is dangling. Only 1 foot hits, but Bulldog's music's playing. He's up in the corner celebrating, and then Michaels sneaks up from behind him and throws him out.
You ain't cheating, you ain't trying, baby.
That's probably the best part of the Rumble.
It was.
It is. That and Dick Murdoch was going buck wild on people in that thing. He did not care because he was not getting a full-time gig.
But it's like Jacob and Eli Blue. I'm like, wow, they're scraping the barrel for this Rumble.
Yeah, it was a lot of tag teams.
I just remember being a kid and being fucking devastated that Shawn got thrown out. And I was like, he almost won. and then he jumps back in and pushes him off. And I was like, what?
His 1 foot touches, and Earl Hebner's like, oh, there's 1 foot.
Yeah. Now, as a Rumble entry, horrible entry, but the fact that Sean won, it's not my favorite win, but it is one of my favorite Rumbles. Because
it might be at the bottom of the list for me.
It's very low for me too. Yeah.
The Rumble itself was terrible. Good finish.
Okay.
Never seen it coming.
There's
at least young me didn't.
No.
Yeah.
There's a very good match on this show though, and it's Bret Hart against Diesel. Bret Hart does such a good job with Diesel in this match. Even though the finish is because they keep doing run-ins and they keep restarting it over off of DQs, and then they just finally throw it out at the end. But it's funny because there's a spot where Diesel jackknifes Bret, and it's like one, and he goes for the pin, and Shawn Michaels is supposed to break it up, but Bret Hart, and he should have been this smart in 1997. Damn it, he gets the shoulder up at 2 just in case.
Yeah.
And then the big angle in this one was 2 angles. Jeff Jarrett won the Intercontinental title from Razor Ramon, and then the big one was 1, 2, 3 Kid and Bob Holly won the vacant tag titles over to Tonka and Bam Bam Bigelow, and Bam Bam was so mad he just shoves Lawrence Taylor in the crowd.
There it is. Sets it up. I like that. See, I get excited for Rumble just because it does set up Mania stuff. Like it's my favorite pay-per-view, and it's a good transition to.
It's always fun. There's always something fun in the Rumble.
I think this Rumble is going to have a big thing that sets up Mania for a match. I don't think it's going to be a World Championship match, but I think it's going to be.
I agree, and I think we might be on the same page.
Yeah.
No.
You got to be a Patreon to find out.
You will have to be a Patreon to find this out.
Anyway.
So in 96, we have another Intercontinental title change. Goldust beats Razor Ramon.
Love Goldust.
They had a free-for-all match where Duke the Dumpster Droese, or as Conrad Thomas will say, Drose, he beat Hunter Hearst Helmsley to get the number 30, and that means Hunter Hearst Helmsley is number 1. Number 2 was Henry Godwin, who had just beaten Hunter in a Arkansas hog pen match a month before. In Hershey. Yeah, in Hershey.
Yep.
I was there. Young lad.
You were at this Rumble?
Yeah, I was at the paper. No, that pay-per-view.
The one in your house.
Yeah, they're in your house.
Yeah.
For the hog pen match.
Some obscure entrants here. The Squat Team was in this Rumble. Better known as the Headhunters. They were early ECW guys.
Oh, yeah, they were just these big bald-headed black guys with face paint that kind of looked like Abdul the Butcher, and they were twins.
Really?
Yeah, and they were Headhunters A and B.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they were managed by Hunter Q. Robbins III in ECW. Takao Omori, Japanese wrestler, he was in this Rumble. Doug Gilbert was in this Rumble. He had won a Royal Rumble in the USWA and got the right to be in this one. And 2 guys who never really did anything later. Isaac Yankem was in this Rumble, and the Ringmaster was in this Rumble.
Yeah, those characters sucked, right?
No, the characters are fine. The guys just they just weren't good.
Never made of themselves. We always put our group chat like, look at this jobber, and it's like Mick Foley.
We have these wrestling challenge things. Like in the first show, the first wrestling challenge, Paul Orndorff wrestles Troy Martin, and that's a very, very young Shane Douglas. He's wrestling under his real name, and it's funny because before he was Shane Douglas, he wrestled for a little bit as Troy Orndorff because people thought he looked like Paul Orndorff.
Yeah, I think there's more stuff on our group chat that we should move that conversation to the community page. I think more people would enjoy to enjoy that conversation. Yeah. Because we have some really good stuff on our community chat. I'm not gonna lie, we do. I mean, in our little private chat.
And then the Iron Man in this Rumble is Triple H. He did go 48 minutes. Yeah. Shawn Michaels eliminated 8 people, including Diesel, to win it. And this was the first time the Rumble didn't go on last. The Bret Undertaker title match went on last year.
Which I always think is a mistake. But the Rumble.
Yeah. 97 was this is the one I think you watched earlier, Tony. This is the one with, in fact, I know it is. Heavy AAA influence on this show. Yeah. They were in San Antonio. It's very close to the border. They were in the Alamo Dome, and they wanted to pack the house. They're doing $5 tickets. They were giving away tickets on Dr. Pepper soda cans. They wanted to pack the house, and so they brought in some AAA guys. They had a trios match on the main card. And again, the Rumble didn't go on last year. Shawn Michaels beat Sid. Hometown boy Shawn Michaels beat Sid to win back the title.
Is that when he hits what's the name with the camera?
That was when Sid won it. That was at Survivor Series before this.
That's right. And this was the blood match, like the revenge match.
This is where Shawn gets the belt back, and then he loses a smile a month later and says, "I don't want the belt anymore."
Things happen. Yeah. You lose your smile. Let's just move on.
Yeah. Things happen. Like they want you to lose to Bret. So it's a controversial finish here. Austin eliminates Bret to win, but Bret had already eliminated Austin. The rest didn't see it because Vader and The Undertaker were fighting outside. That sets up the Final Four match at the Next Day in Your House, which was supposed to be for number one contender, but somebody got a hangnail and had to quit, so it became for the title.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And I love Austin in this Rumble. Austin is so great in this Rumble. Especially this spot where he's just throwing everybody out, and then he sits on the buckle and he's like looking at his watch, and then when he hears Bret's music, he just goes, and it's just like, oh no,
so good.
Yeah, and then years later, Punk would do the same thing. Look at his watch.
Yeah, I'll tell you, like, it's really like a lot of people just obviously just because he's Stone Cold, like, oh, he's the badass. He's like, but he's so good. Like, he was so good. He was so
Steve Austin was very, very good at wrestling.
Yeah,
yes, he was.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, if you made him Mount Rushmore, it's hard not to put his name on there.
He could do everything. I mean, his wrestling ability maybe took a little, not even like when his neck got hurt, he couldn't do some things he could do before, but even then he was really good.
The one thing about this Rumble too, if you look at his physique, now obviously when he was stunning Steve, he was jacked.
Yeah,
he was very like not slim, but he was very toned in this. Like, he wasn't cut up.
Yeah.
He had his body structure was way different than what you're usually seeing as Stone Cold Steve Austin in this Rumble.
Well, he was still just very new. He'd been in WWF for about a year at this point, a little more. Yeah. Some obscure entrants here, all the AAA guys, Pierre Jr., who Tony noticed wasn't selling anything.
No.
The man famous for not selling anything, Mil Mascaras, who had to eliminate himself because Noyab, he wouldn't let anybody beat him, so he had to eliminate himself. Cibernetico, the man, not the match, is in this Rumble. Latin Lover, and Terry Funk. Terry Funk is in this Rumble as Terry Funk.
Yeah, the first guy we said he comes in the ring, and it's Stone Cold and Triple H are actually in the ring at the time, and they hit him, and he hits the ground, and as soon as he hits the ground, like, he goes down like he's hurt, and then pops right back up, and then Austin hits him again, and he stands back up, and they kind of just look at each other like, is this guy gonna sell anything? like he just wouldn't, like, he would not put his back on the mat. Like, he was like, oh, I gotta get back.
Yeah.
Like, it's horrible.
And when Tony said, like, it had to be Mil Mascaras, and he shows us a picture, I'm like, no, that's Pierre Jr. What the hell was he doing?
Yeah, he didn't sell a goddamn thing.
And then Austin set a record here too, 10 eliminations.
Yeah, and off the top. Yeah, Mil Mascaras says crossbody off the top rope out to somebody for no reason. Just eliminate himself because they want to lose.
Just get out of here with it.
Like, what the? I'm a kid, and what the hell?
What's going on, Brian? Welcome to the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you're into Rumbles, tell us in the chat what your favorite Rumble is and favorite Rumble moment. We'll get to it in a minute.
So then 98, the next year, Austin wins again. This time, no controversy. He throws out the Rock, wins clean. Some obscure entrants in this one. Somebody at number 3. Number 1 and number 2 were Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie. Number 3, Andy, I'm sure you know this guy pretty well. He's a very patriotic man. Italian-American.
Patriot. Well,
Tom Brandy. Tom Brandy was number 3.
Met him at Outbreak.
The honky tonk man was I met him at a show near my middle school in 1998. Tom Brandy.
No, Tom Brandy.
97, I think it was, actually.
That's a weird thing. Like, if I could just tell my little self, like, watching this paper, you're gonna know that guy for many years.
Yeah, he was number 3 after Cactus and Chainsaw Charlie. Honky Tonk Man was in this Rumble, and Kurgan, who was in the Oddities, and then he was in the Sherlock Holmes movie.
Oh,
he was in this Rumble.
Is Stone Cold the guy with the most wins, correct?
Yes, he's the only guy that's ever won it 3 times.
Yeah, and Billy just congratulated me for winning all 3 of those.
Oh, there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah, he said he never knew I wrestled.
Yeah,
and somehow you wrestled before you were born, which is very impressive. Gotta hand it to you.
My little brother Austin is probably named after Stone Cold. I'm not gonna lie.
I was gonna say, I thought John Cena was gonna beat the Stone Cold record, at least tie and win 3 Rumbles.
Yeah, a few people have won 2. A bunch of people have won 2. Austin's the only guy who's won 3. And speaking of 3, this was the Rumble where Mick Foley's in it 3 times.
Yeah.
Cactus Jack number 1, like halfway through the Rumble, he's Mankind, and at the very end, he's in his Dude Love.
I thought that was pretty cool. Some people, he's done it 3 times. Who cares?
Brian said his favorite was 94 because I believe he said he was there live.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he said he's the right side when Taker went up on the screen.
Oh,
cool. That wasn't Undertaker. It was Marty Jannetty.
When Marty Jannetty rose to the heavens.
Yeah. Well, he was high a lot back then, and now.
and he may have murdered somebody behind a bowling alley.
He said that was made up. He said that was made up once the law came and calling.
I realized
But
I might have confessed to someone.
He did want to know if it was okay if he had sex with his stepdaughter.
Janetti is an interesting profile to follow.
Yes, he is. So 99 is next. I like to call this one the Russo Rumble.
Yeah.
It's 99 is, well, first of all, it's when we had the infamous Rock Mankind I Quit match. If you ever saw Beyond the Mat, this is Chris Nowinski's least favorite match ever.
Me too.
And it's the Mankind is handcuffed and the Rock just goes nuts and goes a little too nuts. I think they had agreed on like 3 chair shots and hit him like 17 times or something like that.
Yeah, up the aisleway. It's like, it's hard to watch. Even then, I was like, okay, no.
Yeah. And then the Rumble itself, Vince McMahon wins this Rumble from number 2.
Yeah.
Much like the 95 Rumble, this Rumble sucked. And much like the 95 Rumble, the first 2 in or the last 2 in. And after a distraction by, I think, Big Boss Man, Vince McMahon throws out Austin and wins the Rumble.
Yeah.
This
is my least favorite Rumble.
Okay. Yeah, it's a bad one.
He's not in the Rumble the whole entire time.
Yeah, Austin. They recycled this. They recycled this a few years ago for Roman. Austin gets beat up, and they stretcher him out. And Vince is doing commentary through a lot of it, and it is not good. It is not good. You can skip this show. You can definitely skip.
The heat of Michael Cole in like the 2010s when he was the heel commentator, just like not even worth watching.
X-Pac Rumble, yeah.
Yeah.
One, isn't she?
Yeah, she's China.
Yeah, China, first woman ever in the Rumble in this one.
Yep.
Dan Severn's in this Rumble. The Blue Meanie, speaking of nice guys, is in this Rumble. And Tiger Ali Singh is in this Rumble.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had Babu with him, though. We saw Babu on that ECW show we did a few months ago. He was El Puerto Ricano.
Oh, yeah. El Puerto Ricano.
That was a tough watch.
Yes, it was.
That show is way better than the 1999 Royal Rumble.
We're thinking about doing watch-alongs on the Patreon account. So when we do bonus stuff, if you do want to follow along on Patreon, that is something we're going to be doing. Independent on IWTV watch-alongs. We're going to be doing some old pay-per-views and old like house shows and stuff, watch-alongs or stuff like that. So if you do want to follow us on Patreon, it's like I said, it's $5. It helps us grow, but you do get bonus content, and all those shows will be live, and you can go back and watch the replays.
So we go from a very bad Royal Rumble here to a very good Royal Rumble, like an overall show. 2000 from Madison Square Garden. I think they always try a little harder at the Garden, and they started off hot on this one. And Taz makes his debut. It's Kurt Angle against a mystery man. It's Taz. He debuts. He chokes out Kurt Angle, ends his unbeaten streak, and that's the height of Taz's wrestling career in WWE. It's all downhill from there.
Yeah, it was awesome though. He's been
it was great.
And he has his ECW gear on, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna put your pants in like a work shirt."
Yeah,
commentary.
His commentary was better than his wrestling in WWE. Wasn't his fault.
Yeah, they very good tag team tables match here. The Hardys and the Dudleys, very famously. The set for this Rumble is always going to be well known because it was in No Mercy.
Yeah, the car coming down, and Madison Square Garden, they have that short entrance where they just come right out, like when John Cena comes back to this. Mm-hmm. So I think they would do it every 10 years or something like that.
Pretty much, yeah.
The next time there is a pay-per-view in Madison Square Garden, I'm telling you now, I'm going. So if anyone wants to go, I need to see a wrestling show in Madison Square Garden.
I feel bad because I lived up there and I never went to anything at the Garden. I should have went to that one in 08 that Andy was still talking about. I was living up there then, but I was working third shift and I was working Sunday night, so I missed most pay-per-views at that point.
Yeah, I have to go see a wrestling show at the Garden, and I don't even want to like the Garden. I don't even want to see a basketball game. I don't want to see a concert. I want to see a wrestling show there, and I want to go to. I had a chance when it was in Philly. I need to see a Rumble live. It's my favorite.
The problem now is they seem to be doing Rumbles at baseball stadiums in like warm weather cities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a 50-50 chance on going to a good live Rumble in Philadelphia, and I chose wrong. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
I was there.
Well, the first Rumble in Philly was very good, but unfortunately it never happened. We'll get to that one in a few years.
That's true.
Yeah.
I see where I have omitted.
So also in the 2000 Rumble, you had that was the one where Jeff Hardy does a swanton off the car on the set.
Yeah.
Billy said at the G1 Supercard in Madison Square.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh wow, excellent.
I didn't know him at the time though. Yep.
I was always annoyed with that one because I had ordered Joey Janela's Spring Break Night 2 on iPay-per-view, and it didn't start till like 2 in the morning because they were waiting for everybody to get back from New York that had tickets to the show. And they were like, yeah, we're waiting. And it wasn't over till like 4 in the morning. That was the clusterfuck we watched at one of the shows when it was after the show when one of the last times I was actually live in the studio. Yeah. We watched the one with like Crime Time was in it and Mantar and all those people.
And what's his name? Philly
Mike was catching people, yeah. And then the best match on the show is the Triple H Cactus Jack street fight.
Yeah.
That's an amazing match. And then one of the great things to watch for in that match is they have the barbed wire board and Triple H is hitting them with it, hitting Cactus Jack with it. Then they go fight by the crowd. They go fight by the announcers, and they're doing the old switcheroo, and they get the rubber tip board, and then you start hitting Triple H with it.
Yeah.
And then the Rumble itself, The Rock wins in a disputed finish. Big Show actually won that one. Rock's feet hit first. And his feet weren't supposed to hit, but they did. And then D'Lo and Grandmaster Sexay are 1 and 2. This is the one where Kaientai did the run-ins, and I think Taka was the one that got thrown out and his head just like bounced off the ground.
And then they showed it so many
and they replayed it over and over, like Titus O'Neil. That's what I was saying. We were going to bring something up like that later.
And Lawler was like laughing about it.
Yeah, concussions were funny in 2000.
Yeah, Bretshaw's awesome now, right?
Yeah, Rikishi kind of got the Diesel push. They did the thing where him and Too Cool were dancing, and then he threw them out. The obscure guy here, like the kind of jokey wrestler, is Bob Backlund. One of the funny things about this Rumble is the person who lasted the longest was Test.
Wow.
Yeah. One of my favorite things too is this is the Rumble where Road Dogg just laid on the ground and just wrapped his arms and legs around the bottom rope to try to stay. 2001. Here we go. 2001 first ladder match of the Rumble. Jericho won the Intercontinental title from Benoit. Kurt Angle beat Triple H in a title match in the undercard.
Funny, right? There's a guy. Speaking of concussions, were funny in wrestling at one time.
Yeah. His were more neck issues than concussions, but yeah. And then Austin wins the Rumble here. Steve Austin wins his third Rumble here. Lesto eliminates Kane. This is when Kane just threw half the three-quarters of the guy, a third of the guys out. He was in there for almost an hour, and he was the runner-up. Big Show came back. This is after Big Show got sent down to OVW for a little bit. They're trying to get him to get in better shape, but he came back here. Some obscure people in this Rumble. Honky Tonk Man was in this one. Drew Carey was in this Rumble.
Offered money to Kane.
Yeah, he tried to pick Kane. I think he got lowdown spot, Chaz or D'Lo Brown spot. And then Haku was in this Rumble. This is when he came back. And when he came in for this, WCW was just about dead here, but Haku was the reigning WCW hardcore champion when he showed up.
A week prior.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I think, yeah.
So one of the things...
that Sunday, right before, he won on that pay-per-view, and next pay-per-view is on the Royal Rumble.
Wow. One of the things they said over in the PA Pile Driver was, how long are you, because they're the Corbin thing, how long is Corbin going to just say he's King Corbin? And I was like, well, King Haku, King Macho Man.
Well, back then, it wouldn't be every match, but you would defend it like a title for a while there. Haku kind of Harley Race was the king, and he won a house show King of the Ring. It wasn't the King of the Ring pay-per-view. And then when he got hurt, because Heenan was Harley Race's manager, he passed it on to King Haku. And then they had a match at that first Royal Rumble pay-per-view in '89. Haku lost it to Duggan in a match. Duggan lost it to Savage in a match, and then it went away when Savage lost a retirement match.
King Ho.
Yeah, he tried to make himself look even more dumber than he had. The crown on his face. He was like, oh, God.
Dude, I was a kid. I fucking ate Duggan up.
I think that was around the time that movie King Ralph came out, where John Goodman becomes the King of England. It was like, oh, look, a dumb American's the king. Let's do that.
Funny thing is I used to see Duggan and the Berserker, and I would think of the Sunday cartoons. What's his name? The cartoon with the Viking guy.
I have no idea. Captain Caveman? No, he's not a Viking.
The Sunday newspapers.
Hagar the Horrible.
Yeah, but Haggard.
Yeah, Haggard. I always think I would Berserker and Captain and Jim Duggan always reminded me of Haggard. Yeah.
So then in 2002, we have the final WWF Rumble because we're getting the F out soon. Yeah.
Yep.
Regal wins the Intercontinental title in the undercard. Ric Flair has his first WWF match since 1993 in the undercard. He beats Vince McMahon. And I think you can see. I think because I know some of Flair's kids are in the audience there, and I think he brings them over and like they hit Vince. I think Charlotte may have been one of them. I'm not sure though.
Negan, Conrad,
yeah, Mrs. Thompson may have been out there. Triple H wins the Rumble here. This is when he came back from the quad injury. This Rumble I love. This is one of my favorite Rumbles. 2002. There's a lot of fun stuff in here. You have Maven eliminating the Undertaker. You have Goldust coming back. You have the reason I love it is Mr. Perfect coming back. It was Mr. Perfect is back in the WWF, and I am so happy. Yeah, he finished third. He outlasted Austin. And there's a great spot with Mr. Perfect because I used to always love, and I'll do this every time I chew gum. And I'm outside. He would spit out his gum and just hit it away in the air. And he's in the Rumble, and Austin and Triple H are in there with him. Austin and Triple H, two of the biggest stars with The Rock, like the three biggest stars. So two of your biggest guys have Mr. Perfect in the ropes, and they're trying to throw him out. And he still has time to up in the air with the gum and knock it away.
So Bryan said he's from Providence, Rhode Island, and in the early days, I'll put up in the chat. In the early days, King of the Ring happened in Providence, and they held 4 of them at pay-per-views.
Yeah, they used to. They used to always. They may have been house shows too, because I know like the third King of the Ring pay-per-view was in Philly. I was there and it was awful. I'm traumatized by it.
You were at the best one.
I had to watch Savio Vega wrestle 4 times.
I think they might have had multiple ones per year too for house shows.
Yeah, they would do them in house shows.
And so
they would like splice them.
Yeah, well, they would just say like, well, let's test this out. You know, like a lot of times they do the pay-per-view match, they run at the house shows just to see. And like sometimes I would do the match almost move for move.
Yeah. Oh, they absolutely did that. And 90, what year would it have been? 94? Yeah, 94 when Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels, 2 months before they had that ladder match at WrestleMania 10, I saw the exact same match at the Spectrum. Yeah. The exact same match.
We watched.
I was calling spots watching WrestleMania 10.
We watched Randy Orton and AJ Styles do the WrestleMania match in a dark match in Wilkes-Barre. The only difference was we got them the twerk.
That's true.
Yeah. Brian did confirm here in the chat. It was the house shows in the 80s. I think they did run it just in Providence. Like they would do things like that for a while in Philly. Like at the Spectrum around like 93, 94, 95, 96. They would always run an afternoon matinee show at the Spectrum, and then the Wells Fargo back then Core State Center. They would always do a show on Super Bowl Sunday. Like before the game, because like, yeah, the Eagles are never going to be in the Super Bowl. Let's just do wrestling in Philly. Yeah. Just like now.
Right, we appreciate you hanging out, man. That's awesome. Bryan and Lopez. I'm not sure if it's 2 accounts in one. I'm not sure, but thank you for hanging out and chatting with us.
Following,
really fun, man. We like having you.
Page.
The other really fun thing in this 2002 Rumble is again with Austin and Triple H are just having fun in the middle here, and they're in with the Hurricane. This is when Hurricane would always try to choke slam everybody, and he tried to double choke slam. Yeah. Triple H and Steve Austin, they just look at each other like, what the hell is this guy doing? And they throw him out. Yeah. It was great. And Triple H wins, eliminating Angle. This is like his big return from the quad injury. And then moving on to 2003, this is kind of meh. This show is more known for what happened outside of the Rumble. This is the one Lesnar won. Okay. He had beaten the Big Show earlier that day to get in the Rumble. Then he eliminated Undertaker to end the Rumble. It was number 29, number 30. At the very end there. And this was the match. There was an awful match with Scott Steiner and Triple H for the Raw title. And then SmackDown had the Benoit Angle match. It was amazing.
Yeah, that Scott Steiner match.
He says, UWO podcast here showing some love. We appreciate that, man. If you ever want to collaborate and join and hang out with us on an episode, let us know. And please tag your podcast in the group chat. We'll have people go check it out and follow it. And I'll say it here in the podcast for the people listening audio later.
I don't think I've ever seen the 2004 Royal Rumble.
It never happened. There wasn't one.
Right. I mean, 2003. Yeah, 2004.
Yeah.
No one. Yeah, nobody won.
2003. Brock won. 2004.
Yeah.
They had an event in Philadelphia. Nobody won. You had Triple H and Shawn Michaels in a last man standing match. You had Ric Flair and Batista had a tag match with somebody. Then they had a Royal Rumble. There was like 29 guys, but nobody won.
And then nobody went on to win the world title.
Nope. Just roll the credits.
Nope. Mick Foley came back, though. Mick Foley, he beat up Test backstage, stole his number, and eliminated Randy Orton.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
03 is like kind of a cool Rumble because that's like where our generations kind of differ in when we started watching wrestling. Because the end of the 03 one is Taker and Brock, and also Batista is involved in that fight.
Yeah.
Where he goes to hit Taker with a chair, and then Taker hits him with the chair and throws him out, and that causes Brock to throw him out. So that's just something I thought was cool for our.
Yeah, that's cool. It's always going to. You're always going to be predisposed to the ones like they were the first couple ones you watched.
Yeah.
Except for those ones in '89 and '90 before the Flair one. Those sucked.
Yeah.
The Flair Rumble was the first good one. That's not true. They had some good stuff in the middle, but Hogan shouldn't have won them.
I stopped watching in 03 because that's when I started learning about mixed martial arts and UFC, and it was over for me at that point, and that's when I completely checked out and I was out. So I didn't come back to wrestling until much later. So a lot of this stuff I had to go back and watch on repeat because I didn't watch it live.
And I mean, if you can stomach watching it, the 2004 Rumble It Didn't Happen is actually pretty good.
I miss all of Sean's last run. Never seen it, and I'm a huge Sean guy.
Well, his last one.
Yeah.
The DX stuff with the second time DX came back.
Mm-hmm.
No, the third time DX came back. It was off.
Like I remember when people told me he won the Elimination Chamber, I was like, "What?"
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, that
was great. That was when he first came back.
Yeah, that was great. And when he had the street fight with Triple H, fantastic.
The 08 feud with Jericho.
The only thing that wasn't fantastic about the Elimination Chamber, well, two things. Rob Van Dam almost killed Triple H, and then Shawn Michaels' tights.
Yeah, the ugly brown chocolate tights he had on and his little Dutch boy haircut.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into
05. 05. Now, this is a new generation taking hold here. Your final two are Batista and John Cena. Batista wins. They did like a weird double elimination where they both go out first. And Vince McMahon storms out to restart the match, and he tears his quad trying to get up, and then he tries to get up again, and he tears his other quad.
So he sits there and he's yelling. You're like, what's going on? This is so weird.
He slides into the ring, and when he first slides, he hits his quad off of the ring. First one gone. So then he, I guess, uses all of the power in just his other quad, and that one goes.
Can you talk about just how tough that dude is?
I know, my God.
If I tore a quad
and he was probably more upset than anything.
and then stood up and tore my other one,
Yeah.
I would just piss myself, lay in the ring and cry. Roll the credits, get me out of here.
If I tore my shirt, I would be upset.
Yeah. Kyle and Eddie said they're down to talk and hang out anytime. Maybe we'll add you guys in one time. We'll talk and have some fun.
On the page, and community page. Well, that's
we are making. I will say this: we are making a rule. We're gonna limit the amount of like people sharing their content in the group pages, the community pages. I reached out to a lot of the people who were sharing their stuff, and I was like, "Hey guys, you want to collaborate and communicate?" And they're just like, "Nah, we just want to share our stuff in here." And so now that you reach, honestly, dude, just because you reached out,
hey, they're watching. That's more than some people do.
If as long as you're watching and you're communicating, you're hanging out with us, and we can build up a relationship where you plug us, we plug you. As of right now, anyone sees UWO is it UWO? Is that what we said it was?
Yeah, UWO pod.
And UWO is cool to share their content here in Tornado Tag community. So you can continue to keep sharing your stuff. The fact that you're in here just participating and being a member means a lot, and we appreciate that.
So a couple of obscure people here in the 2005 Rumble. Yeah, Daniel Pewter. This is his welcome to the league thing where they just chop the hell out of him. Hardcore Holly just unloads. They were trying to get him to quit.
Yeah,
he had a giant contract.
I'm glad I didn't wrestle.
Pewter walks into the ring, and it's already Ben Guerrero, and then Hardcore Holly comes in. They all take their turns.
You wrestled Hardcore. I was like, how was he? And you're like, he was amazing.
Yeah, it wasn't Hardcore Holly in 2005. So I'm very glad.
Another guy you wrestled was on TV last week.
I know. How about it?
Gilbert.
Yeah.
But he wasn't. He's in a Rumble. Yeah.
I don't know if he was ever in a Rumble. Like, maybe.
Oh, they said on Raw that Jeff Hardy was only ever in 6 Royal Rumbles. I was like, I find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
Like, maybe, but you think, wouldn't he be in? I know, yeah, he had tag matches, but you think he'd been in the Rumble too? He's Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
There's a weird thing too with Jeff Hardy. Like, he's never won a match at like SummerSlam or something. Maybe he has now. So the Daniel Pewter's in here. Roman Reigns' older brother Luther was in this match.
Yeah, Luther Reigns.
Muhammad Hassan, who I learned this week is now a high school principal. He was in this match. Kenzo Suzuki was in this match. Jonathan Coachman was in this Rumble. He was in a few of them. This was also the Rumble where local guy Snitsky was in this Rumble. This is where he does the clothesline to Paul London on the apron, and Paul London takes that really cool flip bump onto the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Really nice guy. Gene's a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
I've met him. Great dude.
Yeah.
So is Paul London. He's a little weird, but he's a nice guy.
He just
I think
Paul London likes to smile.
oh yeah, then you get fired for that.
He did a movie where he's like Kung Fu Elvis.
Who?
I think the movie Paul London. The movie might actually be called Kung Fu Elvis. I saw a trailer for it.
I want to see Gene Snitsky as Kung Fu Elvis.
That would be great.
Oh, Gene Snitsky's actually in a horror movie. I don't know the name.
Didn't he write the movie? I think he wrote the movie, didn't he?
Both produced it. Yeah.
He should be Elvis though. It wasn't my fault, maybe.
During the Yingling 150 was 100th anniversary or 150? I don't remember.
I haven't.
I think it was the 190th or something.
Yeah,
like that.
It was up there.
It's like because I think it was like you couldn't wait for 200.
Yeah.
You hold out 10 more years.
Well, they were going to make it an annual thing, but then something happened and they couldn't do it last year.
But yeah, me and Austin were walking around enjoying ourselves, and we were doing like Facebook lives during it, and Gene stopped us and did like a little industry interview with a super nice guy, super really cool. Like,
That was actually the day I joined the podcast.
It was.
Yeah.
And we met for the first time, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I even said like, dude, I want this. We were walking and I was like, dude, I was telling Austin, I want this guy on the show. He'll be a good fit.
Yeah.
And Austin goes, Gene Snitsky?
Yeah.
Austin's mom said that the movie's called 100 Acres of Hell. That is exactly what it's called. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, super nice guy. Maybe one day we'll have him on the show.
So unfortunately, in that one, Eddie Guerrero and some guy, Eddie Guerrero just stood in the ring by himself for 2 minutes, and then Daniel Pewter came out, and then that later that year, unfortunately, Eddie Guerrero did pass away, and so in 2006, this was when Rey Mysterio wins it for Eddie. He came out in the lowrider. He lasted the whole way, an hour and 2 minutes and change, and that was a record at the time. He broke Bob Backlund's record. Throws out Randy Orton to get the win there. And so that was the big thing for that Rumble. Some obscure things, though. Simon Dean was in that Rumble. Simon Dean of the Simon System. Psychosis. Tatanka. This is when Tatanka was like a heel on SmackDown, and so was the Road Warrior.
Yeah. Was Nathan Jones in this?
I don't know. Was Nathan Jones ever in a Rumble?
I used to use Psychosis Mac as my creative character mask.
No, really.
Yeah, I love Psychosis.
His music
Psychosis
was awesome.
I was like the in one of the WCW. I would play with him in one of the WCW one, like WCW NWO Revenge. I think he did like a top rope leg drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in 07, we have a very good title match here. Cena against Umaga, last man standing, was a very good match. This is the first time you had the WWE version of ECW in the Rumble. Flair and Finlay are number 2 here. The Great Khali comes in at the very end and throws out 7 guys in less than 4 minutes. This is a milestone here, though. This Rumble in 07 is the first time that Undertaker won the Rumble, and it's the first time anybody won it from number 30.
Yeah, how about that?
And you had that big exchange with Michaels. They basically had a match before somebody got thrown out. They had a quick match. Very good. Probably the best finishing sequence of a Rumble, I would say.
Yeah.
And some obscure things here. Kenny Dykstra was in this Rumble. Awful name. Such a bad name.
Yeah. Hey, it's a play on the baseball player from 10 years ago.
And then they had a guy on SmackDown around the same time, Bam Neely. Hey, Cam Neely, I get it. Sabu was in this Rumble. Again, this is when ECW was still around. The Sandman's in this Rumble. Super Crazy is in this Rumble. And Kevin Thorne is in this Rumble. Kevin the Vampire.
Yeah, Mordecai.
Going on the
2008. This is the one I rewatched. I went back and watched. When this Rumble, I didn't know anything about it, so I didn't see any build up. So I just I'm gonna watch a Rumble, and I picked 08, and it started. I was like, this is how they're starting it. This is gonna be a fucking good ass Rumble.
Yeah, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, number 1 and number 2.
I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah.
And before the Rumble, though, this was where you had Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy in a title match. Randy Orton was the champion at this point.
Yeah.
And Mike Adamle had just made his debut as a announcer, and this is where he calls him Jeff Harvey.
Jeff Harvey. Mike Adamle, notoriously a bad GM. Right, yeah. It was awful.
There's a few more obscure ones in this one, too. If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, though.
There were a few what?
A few more obscures in this one.
Yeah, Hornswoggle was in this one. Jimmy Snuka. Piper. This was at the Garden, so they brought in a lot of like old legend guys. Big Daddy V is in this Rumble.
Piper had that giant abscess on his side.
Yeah.
He had that huge lump on his side.
Well, I think it was around this time, maybe a little later, when he did that match with Flair and he found out he had cancer. Yeah. Like they said, the match saved his life. Elijah Burke is in this Rumble. The Pope.
Oh, from the last in NWA.
So was this pay-per-view one of the last times that had blood on it? Because if I remember correctly,
Probably
Jericho versus JBL.
Yeah, at least intentional blood.
Yeah, because I think it's Jericho bleeds profusely in that match.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
A bloodbath. Go watch. I forget what it's.
Eddie Guerrero and fucking
JBL and John Cena in that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In that street fight. I forget.
They said the one that Eddie Guerrero did where he bladed himself and he went too deep. Was it Eddie?
Yeah. Eddie and JBL. Not the title change match, but there was a match before that. Yeah, Eddie bleeds like a stuck pig in that match.
They said they almost had to do a transfusion on him because he lost that much blood.
Jeez. Yeah.
Like Fonzie versus Bill McGillicuddy.
Oh my god.
That was.
There was one. It was a hard way, and I guess it got under control. But there was one in. There's a match with Vince McMahon and Zach Gowen. And Zach Gowen, if you don't know, he was the wrestler with one leg that WWE had for a while.
Yeah.
And there was a spot at the end, it might have been after the match, where Zach Gowen comes up the top rope and he gives the drop kick, there's obviously a single leg drop kick, into a chair, but Vince held the chair the wrong way and it opened up into his head, and there was this blood shooting like a horror movie out of Vince McMahon's head. But he was okay. It wasn't like too bad. But yeah, the big surprise here, we kind of alluded to it earlier. Triple H is number 29. He comes in, he cleans house, and then number 30 comes out. John Cena had been gone for about 6 months here. He had I think he had like a torn bicep. They thought he was been gone for a lot longer than that.
It took about like 2 years.
And they play it off like no one knew it was him under the hat.
Who's that? It says Hustle, Loyalty, Respect.
Yeah.
I think it's Hogan.
And his music's playing.
Yeah.
And the New York crowd, the so smart New York crowd, everybody hates John Cena. They go nuts for like 30 seconds. They're like, oh yeah, boo, we hate John Cena.
The crowd sold it. The crowd was really into it. People were trying to because there was really no barrier between the entrance ramp and people. Like it was kind of like an honor system thing, which was kind of cool.
No, they acted like this was like the conquering hero coming in, and then they're like, oh yeah, we hate John Cena, we have to boo him. It reminded me of when Roman Reigns won the WWF title on Raw or WWE title on Raw in Philly, and the crowd goes nuts. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right, we're not supposed to like him.
Oops.
So then in 2009, this was the Orton Rumble. Orton was red hot here. This is when he did the thing where he knocked out Stephanie and kissed her. Like he couldn't do that anymore, but. And then Shane McMahon comes in and beats him with invisible punches. But before that, he wins the Rumble. He's in there at number 8. He's in there for over 45 minutes, but Ray's in there a little longer because he was number 1 or 2, and he lasted forever. Triple H put up the valiant effort. I think he winds up winning the title at Elimination Chamber because at Mania it winds up being Orton and Triple H. But at the very end, it comes down to Randy Orton and all 3 guys in Legacy, and they just he gets Cody out, he gets Ted out, but he can't get Randy out, and Randy wins.
Yeah.
Ted, who's Ted?
Ted DiBiase Jr.
Never really amounted to much.
The shame.
Didn't have the skills Dad did.
No. And he didn't have the embezzling skills his brother did.
No, yeah, Mike DiBiase. They tried to put Maurice with him.
Mm-hmm. They tried to put Virgil with him.
They tried to give him the $1 million belt, just didn't have it.
Speaking of Virgil, how about his what do they call it when you pay him to do a
his cameo.
Did you see that video?
He gave people a little something extra in his cameo.
Oh,
he did a cameo where he's like telling somebody hi or wishing them a happy birthday or something.
Yeah.
And his nutsack is hanging out of his shorts.
Well, hey, you want to make that fuck money?
Virgil's whole ball sack is hanging out of his
There's a funny thing on...
Could you imagine getting that cameo and you're like,
oh, God.
Is that his balls? That is worth the price of admission right there. You actually... You didn't pay enough, is what is allowed.
On the Jim Cornette drive-thru podcast, a lot of times they will listen to other wrestlers' cameos and make fun of them, and they're fantastic. They go up on YouTube. Like the drive-thru is like the bonus show, like the Patreon show, so you don't get it live. But like a couple days, it's on YouTube. It is so good. Like the Undertaker ones. All Elite Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Undertaker fan. They're like, whoa, where was he going there for the second with All Elite? It's just like. So good. Stay in school. It's like, oh my God.
I wish we get to the point where we have enough like Patreon where we can just do stupid shit with it, where we can pay like the Undertaker to say like, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck?
I think it was like $1,000 for Undertaker, or $500.
Yeah, he only did 30 of them. They were like $1,000 each.
Yeah,
they were like tied in with the Singing Survivor Series.
$1,000 each. You better have his ball.
They were doing a cool thing too, where they Cornette and Brian last were guessing. He's like, okay, how much do you think Sonny Kiss charges to do?
We
one?
did this. We did the cameo game first. They're ripping us off.
Yeah.
We did this years ago.
But so it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
what people are actually charging.
Yeah. So Virgil, ballsack hanging out. So
That's my second favorite cameo ever. My favorite was the legendary singer Smokey Robinson.
Yeah.
He did this video for somebody. He did a video for somebody, and he's like, I guess these people ordered the video for their mom, and their mom lived on the same block as him. He's like, I guess you lived with me. Like, he obviously didn't remember, and he's like, and your kids want me to wish you a happy Chinooka. I don't know what that is, but happy Chinooka, because they told me to tell you.
Chinooka is, but I want you to have a happy one. So happy Chinooka. I was like, how can you not know? He's a chauvinist. He's had to know one Jew.
He probably knows what Hanukkah is, but he probably thinks it's spelled with an H at the beginning.
Yeah.
He probably never saw it spelled out.
There was some I listened to was like funniest cameos and that.
yeah. Well, Virgil, you made the list, brother. I'm glad he was alive. We had speculation that he was living in the rubble of the Schuylkill Mall, and he was like in a janitor's closet because he literally lived in our mall for like
he was there forever. It felt
for like
years.
6 years.
It felt like.
He was literally he had a table set up on our, and he just had a table. It would be like all 14 rundown mall shops, Kmart, and in between Kmart and Nirvana's closet, there was Virgil's table.
Nirvana's closet was like a hot topic for the time for those people that don't know. And he would go over, buy NWO merchandise, sign it, and then try and sell it for triple.
Yeah. Yep. And he had a banner that said the $1 Million Man will be here tomorrow. Or something like that. It was
It was always Virgil and Ted DiBiase, but Ted's not.
He'd come tomorrow. Yeah, and then he would autograph stuff that you didn't even want him to. Like you would just go up to say hi, and he'd be like in the middle of conversation, be like he would take like an item off of you, and he would just sign it, and then he'd be like, "Yeah, that's $20." And you're like, "I didn't ask you to do that." Like,
you have to have your guard up for that. This would have been like 2009 because oh my god, he's 13 now or 14. My buddy Jack, his oldest son, we were at this convention in New Jersey, Chiller Theater. It's like a lot of horror people, comic book people are there and stuff like that, mainly horror. But there's wrestlers there, and we got our picture taken with Demolition back in like 2009. And right next to the table with Demolition, this is Eric Sims was still doing stuff back then, and he had Demolition there, and he had the Iron Sheik, and there's like all these things for the Iron Sheik, and as we're getting a picture with Demolition, the Iron Sheik wants to hold the baby, and we're like, I don't know, Iron Sheik, because you know somebody's gonna run up, snap that Polaroid, that'll be $50, sir.
yeah. I heard some stories too where people like had the $1 Million belt, and they went up like, "Ted, can you sign this?" And Virgil just grabbed it and put his name on it, and he's like, "You owe me 22," and they're like, "I didn't ask you." Yeah. But
Carney,
the guy's trying. He's giving it his best.
making the best out of what he had.
All right, let's. We're pushing
What 2000
hour and a half about
Yeah, we're pushing an hour and a half. Let's
speed run it. 2011 was the 40-man Rumble. It wasn't that great. I mean, I guess everybody remembers it for Diesel, and then they brought Kevin Nash back later because of that. Cena's elimination got botched by Alex Riley, and then they go do it again later. Del Rio wins, eliminates Santino. Santino was doing that thing where like everybody thought he was out, but he wasn't. And for a while there in the middle, this is when they had the
Rumble winner,
huh?
Ray.
Oh, Ray. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Yeah,
Alberto Del Rio. Yeah. And then Punk and Bryan were 1 and 2. This is when Punk was doing the new Nexus, and they kind of just dominated a little bit. Husky Harris is in this Rumble.
never went on to be anything.
Nah. I think he got set on fire or something.
He's dead now.
I didn't hate this Rumble. Them being ambitious with 40 men, and at the time, I can appreciate Del Rio winning this one because they booked him very.
Oh yeah.
If we knew what we knew now, Punk and Daniel Bryan 1 and 2 is like a couple years before.
Yeah. I mean, this was the year Punk really took off. This was the year, like, just a little bit after this, like, what, 5 months after this, he does the pipe bomb promo.
Yeah.
He had already been a world champion. Punk was kind of made, like, people wanted Punk to be pushed harder than he was here. He had that kind of nothing world title run on Raw when he first came up from ECW. But he really made his name, I think, in the Straight Edge Society, which was before this. So people loved Punk at this point.
Yeah.
Some obscure people here. Diesel was in this. Booker T came back for this one. Mason Ryan also in this Rumble.
Oh god, he was like fake Batista.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2012, just jumping right. We're just going to do the Rumbles here, the other matches or whatever. Miz and Alex Riley were 1 and 2 here. This was, I call it the Comedy Rumble. Jerry Lawler, Booker T, Michael Cole were the announcers. They were all in it. Ricardo Rodriguez was in it. Mick Foley was in it. And they did Sacco versus the Cobra with Santino. Jim Duggan was in it. Karma, Awesome Kong was in this Rumble and throughout Michael Cole.
Yeah.
Second woman. No, but that was Beth.
Third, Beth Phoenix was in one. She eliminated Great Khali.
Yeah, by kissing him. And he
Jesus.
fell over the top rope because of sexual excitement.
That's a strong kiss.
I just said we're just going to talk about the Rumbles. I lied. 2013 was when The Rock beat CM Punk for the title and that year-long plus reign.
Yeah.
Jericho came back. Him and Dolph were 1 and 2. Sheamus got the win. Sheamus got the most eliminations. Cena got the win. Excuse me. He eliminated Ryback to win the Rumble there. Bo Dallas was the NXT entrant. This is before NXT was even on. This was before there was a network. So
Yeah.
it was like, this gentleman from NXT, Bo Dallas.
No one believes in him anymore. Is he still on the roster?
Probably.
Yeah, I don't think he got cut.
Wow.
Talk about
Yeah,
that.
Sheamus won the 2012 Rumble. This is 2013.
Yeah.
2014.
Getting paid a whole year to beat Bray Wyatt's brother.
Pretty
Jeez.
much.
Right.
Pretty much. He's he should start reading poetry.
Yeah.
He should start reading poetry on a frisbee and throw it out to people.
He's like growing his hair long and getting a big ass beard to
He
come
did have
at.
long hair, remember?
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying like he's trying to get. I don't know.
He could be the genius Bo Dallas.
I just think if he kept the same gimmick that he had in NXT as like the goody two shoe, I think that would be a good like counter, but good partner for Bray still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the Bo Leave thing. I gotta admit, I love the Bo Leave thing. Just to hit my funny bone.
Yeah.
I would say maybe the worst. Or no, second or third worst NXT champion ever.
Bo Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
when you're an NXT champion, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on. We'll side.
The 2014 Rumble was the Batista Rumble where
Where I came back.
everybody wanted Daniel Bryan and when he wasn't even the damn thing.
This is
And-
the Rumble where everyone's like, "You need to get back into pro wrestling." And I said, "Tell me 2 names that beside the ones that I'm always hearing about." And they said, "You need to see CM Punk
Goldberg.
and you need to see Daniel Bryan." And I was like, "All right." Turn the pay-per-view on, and it was the last time I've ever seen them until Daniel Bryan came back a couple of years ago.
Daniel Bryan was very good here in the match with Bray Wyatt. He's a magician. Daniel Bryan is the greatest wrestler of his generation, and he is the only guy that can get a great match out of Bray Wyatt.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a good match. Well, he got 2 good matches out of Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, he's magic.
Yeah, and then I didn't understand the number 30 spot and why everyone was so upset. 'Cause I
Yeah, everybody boos the hell out of Ray. It's great.
I was like, that's Rey Mysterio, and they're like, "Yeah, like why is everyone booing him?" They're like, "Well,
Daniel Bryan.
they're not booing him, they're booing the." And they had to explain it to me, and I was like,
That's when
They blew it so bad with that because they could have had Bad News Barrett come out at number 30.
That
You
was
thought
great.
Daniel Bryan was in the Rumble. Well, I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Yeah,
I always wanted when Ziggler was doing the fake music thing when he was coming out as people. I thought it would have been perfect if he came out to Cult of Personality and he just flipped everybody off. Like,
Didn't they do that in, like, Stephanie came out or something?
yeah, something like
Or no, I think Stephanie was in the ring and they play it and she just starts laughing at everybody.
that. When he came out as the Undertaker, you're like, wait, you thought the Undertaker was coming twice in 1 year? Oh, the 90s.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then this was also the Royal Rumble debut and the main roster debut of Rusev. He was still
Yeah.
Alexander Rusev at that point.
I will say this: I was a fan as soon as I seen him. I was like, "This dude is. This is. I like this guy."
It took me a while, but when it was when he was feuding that summer with Jack Swagger, I'm like, hey, wait, this guy's good. This
So-
guy's really good.
As soon as they said he plays this Bulgarian dude that's like kind of like in the realm of like an Iron Sheik, but strong, like a strong Iron Sheik type thing. I'm like, I'm in. Like a foreign land, like possible terrorist angle thing where he's like an anti-American. I'm like, I'm in. I don't care who this guy is. I like it because it was like old school.
Did
Like,
he have Lana right at first, or did he not get Lana for a little bit?
I think not there, but I think when they came up to the main roster, full time Lana came with him.
did he? I think he came out like a brown pillowcase or something really weird.
And then, yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, it was around like the Jack Swagger feud. It's a shame they didn't get Kurt Angle sooner because if they would have had Kurt Angle come out against Rusev, that would have been amazing.
Oh,
Yeah. All right.
So
15.
luckily with 2014, they had the thing where everybody got mad because Daniel Bryan didn't win the Rumble. So they learned their lesson. They wouldn't even put him anywhere near the Rumble. So they're back in Philly, which is a very level-headed, calm crowd for 2015. Oh yeah, and Daniel Bryan got thrown out like 10 minutes into the match.
And when that happened, it was over.
Yeah,
Turn the lights off, go home, because they turned off that match real quick.
Yep.
Andy, did you stay for the whole show?
I wasn't at this one. I was at the good one.
Oh, okay. So at this point, I think right as Kane and Big Show are just eliminating everyone, my dad and I left. Missed The Rock.
Yeah.
Everyone was just so pissed.
Yeah, the best way I've heard this described is at this show, the crowd took the show hostage and then they shot the hostage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old Philly.
I mean,
So-
you're one guy everybody wants to win, and you get rid of him. And it's just like it's kind of like at first, it's like they you don't realize, and the air just like is out of it. It's like wait. Oh.
I remember watching this. And I was like, why did I come back?
Yeah.
Why am I
Daniel
here?
Bryan was thinking the same thing.
WWE, it's like, hey, we're just gonna punish you for being a fan.
Yeah.
They like to do that.
Yeah, I was like, why am I?
But when they came back to Philly, it was much.
Yeah.
And then in 2016 was when the second time the title was on the line in the Rumble. Roman's the champion, but they has the evil authority.
Real quick, Roman won 15.
Yeah, Roman won. He eliminated Rusev. And an amazing match earlier in that show was Lesnar, Cena, and Rollins in a three-way. Very good match.
Yeah. So remember when we talked about Hogan just coming out and winning back-to-back Rumbles? Well, they almost did this, and it almost, you know what I mean? But
The Rock couldn't even help get him over.
Yeah.
The Rock's looking around. Boo.
But I will say this: hindsight 2020, they took all of that, shove it down your throat, and then when they finally did the right thing, he's a great heel.
Yeah, but it was way too long coming. I mean, yeah.
Mhm.
But
I think it was perfect too, honestly. I think it was just like long enough, and then the added on top him having cancer. There's no way you could turn this man heel at this point now, and then they do it.
yeah.
I thought the heel turn should have came. I thought he should have cheated to be the Undertaker at Mania. I thought that should have been a heel turn.
All right, 16.
16 was when the title was on the line again. Roman is the champion, and he has to defend the title in the Rumble, and he has to come in number one. They do the same thing they did with Austin back in '99, where he did a stretcher job, and he was gone for about half of it. And he comes back, but he gets tossed. The surprise number 30 is Triple H, and he wins by eliminating Dean Ambrose. Whatever happened to that guy?
I don't know.
And then this is nowadays this Rumble is most famous because AJ Styles debuted.
Yeah.
His first interaction in a WWE ring is a title match in which he faces directly with the champion.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And Sami Zayn also. This is Sami Zayn, one of his first main roster things. He comes in later.
Mm-hmm.
17. Cena in the undercard wins his 16th world title, ties Ric Flair. Owens beat Roman Reigns in a Universal title match, foreshadowing. Orton won the Rumble there. He threw out Roman last. Roman, I think, may have the record for being second place in the Rumble the most, because he's been second place a lot lately.
Yeah.
And then Braun got 7 eliminations there. So 18 is when we start with the 2018 is when we first do the Women's Royal Rumble.
This one was funny, real quick.
And we're back in Philly.
17 was funny because everyone was like, no, Roman. And then Orton went to like, no, Orton.
Oh wait, no, this one was in Philly, right?
18 was in Philly. 18 was in Philly.
That's when I was there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Women's Rumble, and this was a great show. Not so much the undercard, but the 2 Rumble matches were very good.
This is the
Asuka Nakamura.
honestly, now without being biased and saying
This is the Rambo.
Sean going number 1 and winning the Rumble is my favorite because Sean doing it. But the obviously 92 to me is probably the top echelon. Just everything about 92 was perfect. For me, as like a new fan, I would put 18 as battling 92 for me.
Okay.
It's a fun Rumble. I don't think there's just nothing like. I think if Nakamura maybe would have done better afterward, maybe we would think back at it better.
Right.
People are just glad that Roman didn't win.
I don't know. The final 6 of like the face off of like Shinsuke, Finn, and Roman, and then Cena, Orton, and Ray, and then how it turns into the 2 elitists, Cena and Roman, and then Finn and Shinsuke. Like that's a good story towards the end of it.
Oh yeah, it was a very well done match.
I think is just seeing the first ever Women's Rumble to me, as someone who despised women's wrestling for a long time, this turned the corner for me. I was like, this is something different. and it really made me become a fan of female wrestling, and it made me my words, and I was like, I'm excited for the next generations of wrestling fans and young girls.
The funniest thing about that Rumble is who had the most eliminations. Michelle McCool.
Michelle McCool.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wonder why she got that.
The gentleman.
Kelly was in it. Sasha Banks had her Wonder Woman gear.
Yeah, it's up there for me.
And
I really
Asuka
enjoyed
wins, baby.
it. Yeah, Shinsuke and Asuka.
Two fan favorites at the time. One that people wanted to win one.
And also,
Ronda
I
Rousey
mean,
was out.
she's not in the same boat because she's not Japanese, but as my wife, who is now an Asian girl who's getting into wrestling, and everything she's ever seen was like, sorry, but white dudes. And she's like, I want to get into wrestling. And she's like, wait, they let two Asians win? She's like, that's so cool. Like,
And you got to remember, for a long time, most Asian wrestlers and especially in WWF, there was always they're sneaky and devious, and girl monsters talk about a Pearl Harbor job if they attack somebody.
Yeah, this was a big Rumble for me.
I think in general,
It was a lot of fun. It was a fun show.
Like both Rumbles, they like repurposed Royal Rumbles again, because the last few years before we got to this, it's like, oh, Orton, Reigns. The Rumble sucked for a while, and then they did
your house?
Maybe.
I kind of feel like we watched this in your living room.
I think you're right, honestly.
I was there.
But yeah, I think this was the Rumble event that kind of changed things going forward.
Yeah.
Rhea was there too. I went with her and Mark.
Yeah. Because I remember, I do remember saying like, Andy's there. Like I remember.
Yeah, because I was at Takeover the night before, which was also awesome, and which we saw Adam Cole wrestle there, and then also wrestle in the Rumble.
And also, this is the first year our podcast came, 18.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 2018. So this is the year we started as a podcast. Was this same Rumble year? Because I remember being like, this is kind of cool, like the women's Rumble and everything like that.
I liked having two Rumbles. Everyone likes the Rumble. Who's coming out next? Now you get twice.
And now you get it twice. That's so, and then and then you get like, when Jackie or Tori shows up, you're like, that's cool. Like, you know what I mean? It makes your legendary people who kind of, you're like, man, they were good back then, but they were stuck with a bunch of supermodels who couldn't wrestle, and they come out and they show up, and you're like, this is awesome. Like, and then the all women's pay-per-view we got, which I still think they should do.
They should have kept that going.
Evolution was fun, yeah.
At the end. And I'm like, you know what? I know it was a surprise. They should have had Ronda Rousey shirts ready to go.
Yeah.
I would have bought one for everybody else. I'd be like, oh, look at this. Ronda Rousey shirts.
Yeah, just open up a
cares?
box.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Make money.
Yeah.
But they did have the Rusev Day calendar because that's when that was huge. And I bought Rusev Day.
Mhm.
Every day was Rusev Day.
Yep.
I believe the other part was Usos versus New Day was the first match. And it was okay. And then there was like Cesaro, and was he with Sheamus at the time? The Bar versus
I believe so, yeah.
It was right after Nakamura.
Was it against Gable and Benjamin or something like that?
I think, yeah, it was okay. And then there was Braun versus Brock versus somebody else.
Kane.
Yeah. Somebody else.
That's when Braun's going a little too fast and Brock has to pop him.
Yeah.
We need to go punch his face. All right, let's get to 19.
19, the men's Rumble women's Rumble was first here. Lana gets hurt. Becky comes in to take her spot, eliminates Charlotte to get the win. Two people in this Rumble went over 50 minutes, Ember Moon and Charlotte. And three, actually. Natty went 56 minutes. Her and Lacey were in 1 and 2. And then on the men's side, you had number 1, Elias, and number 2, J.E. Double F.
Hey,
This Rumble
Double T.
is up there for one of my least favorites.
Really?
Only because this is one of the Rumbles where we came in and every single person who tuned in that week 100% knew Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins were winning it.
Okay, I can see that.
It was the most predictable pay-per-view I've ever seen in my life. Like if there was a scorecard then, I would have perfectly scored it. It was just like, going into it, you're like, I'm going to watch it, but you already know the outcome. I
mean, there were other Rumbles like that if you were following close enough. Like, everybody knew Michaels was winning in 96. Everybody knew Austin was winning in 98. I'm trying to think of... Everybody knew Triple H was winning in 2002.
So when I first watched wrestling, I was the young guy. I was the young buck. I didn't buy into it. I wasn't into it, like the behind-the-scenes stuff. And then when I came back the year Batista did, I took the behind the scenes of what I was into at UFC and mixed martial arts, and I carried it over to wrestling, and then I started reading dirt sheets, and I knew everything, and I became a smart fan, and then I started relearning the stuff I was a kid. So I was like a reborn Christian, but a reborn wrestling fan. And then this year was just kind of like this is the year I lost the magic in wrestling. Like, it was just like, oh, well, that's kind of boring. And then after this pay-per-view was the year I'm like, I'm not reading that shit no more. Because I never want to go into a pay-per-view and your dad kind of talked me into it. I was like, this is like, I remember sitting in your living room pissed that this is how it went down, and I was just like, I'm not reading that shit no more. Like it's
yeah. Yeah, you either have to get to a point where you just don't read it anymore, or you have to like further yourself from bias on like what's going to happen and just enjoy it for like it being wrestling.
Absolutely.
Sometimes even if you don't read anything, you can see what's coming.
Yes.
Oh my god. Yeah.
You can read the tea leaves.
Yeah, this is the one I was like, we all know who's winning.
I was happy with Becky winning. So
I was happy with Becky, but I was just like, they could have swerved us or tried to do something.
The guys beat up Nia too.
Yeah. Not my favorite. All right, 20.
And then we go to last year. Last year, the Women's Rumble, you had a lot of NXT people. Like if you count Tony Storm being NXT UK, 11 people from NXT in this Rumble. And one of them, it was their NXT Swan Song with Shayna Baszler. She finishes second to Charlotte Flair. I think a lot of people thought Shayna was going to win this one. I know I did. Yeah. And Charlotte gets the win. Some surprise there. Kelly was in this one. Beth Phoenix was in this one. Mighty Molly was in this one. Yeah, she did.
Bust her head open on the turnbuckle on the steel and bled like a pig.
Mm-hmm.
And Santina Morella was in this one.
Yeah, that was like, oh.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
The Men's Rumble. This was the big thing with Brock. The big thing with Brock where he throws out 13 people in the very beginning, sets a new record.
Yeah.
I liked it. Like you either liked this or you hated it. I thought it told a story. I was fine with it.
At the time,
you were in your feelings.
I was.
I thought I went a little too long.
I was upset.
It really put Drew over though.
I'll tell you what. At the moment, hated it. Like this happens to me in wrestling a lot, where you buy into what you're reading on the internet, and you're like, I hate what this is right now, and then 3 months later, like they do a good job tying it in or finishing it, and you're like, oh, that made sense. I'm sorry, I hated it so hard.
I still don't really like it. He could have just threw out.
I mean, all right, so fine. I think this is a perfect way to segue. I'm going to be bold and say this is my favorite Royal Rumble. Yeah, and for the reasons being of the way that the entire match is paced, with that starting off with Brock as the champion. So the Rumble right there is split into 2 separate matches. It's 1 through 15, which is Act 1 pretty much, in which, all right, who's going to beat Brock? He goes through stare downs that you want to see, like him versus Keith Lee, him versus Cesaro, and then also his trip down memory lane with like Shinsuke and Shelton. Then they tie that all the way up with Ricochet hitting the low blow, which is, I guess, retribution for their title match.
He's not with him yet.
Yeah,
that's true. And then Drew eliminating him, which then sets up Drew versus Brock. And Drew.
And my God, Brock threw some people out of that Rumble violently.
Yes, he did.
And I was like, what a dickhead. Like, he's out there killing people.
Like, what are you going to do?
Right? But then he took that boot from McIntyre and he threw himself over that top rope to the point where I thought he fell really awkwardly. But once again, I know I'm gonna throw a little back thing to your wrestling talk on Murder My Dude, where I know there's a lot of people are upset with the Goldberg thing coming up. And why is Goldberg wouldn't bother me if every single time he showed his face, he didn't get a world title shot. Where Brock can walk away for 6 months, a year, 2 years, and he comes back. And the purpose of him being there makes him look like a monster. But on his way out, he does the job for somebody. And when he's in a match with somebody, he's the best worker on the planet when he's in there. Yeah, like him and Daniel Bryan's match, I hated going into it. And I said, I'm going to fucking hate this match. And then after, I was like, that match was fucking amazing. Like the storytelling, those smaller
guys, Finn, they all do great with Bryan.
He sold the body shot. He's like, the whole time his body was hurting. I was like, that sets up for Finn's finisher. Like, it was really good storytelling. So like when a guy like Brock comes back, I'm not as upset because he's good in the ring and he can tell a story. Yeah. When Goldberg comes back and gets a world title shot and does 30 seconds worth of work, it's like, you literally wasted a year of my life to give him a title shot at WrestleMania? Are you fucking kidding me? You look at wrestling like a storyline. So if you watch season 1 of a show and you watch episode 1 all the way to episode 12, and then at the end of episode 12, they just throw everything out the window they worked on for 12. That's kind of how Goldberg, like, he's like the horrible bookend.
That TV show was called Monk.
Yeah. So that's kind of like my only little rant when it comes to that. But like,
that TV show was also called How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah. So I hated the fact that Goldberg did that in the beginning, and I remember sitting in your living room, fuming, and then the Drew thing happened, and I said, "That's a big thing. That that was huge. And then the fact that then the rivalry that built from him and Drew was unbelievable. I was like, whoa, this is a big moment. And then unfortunately for Drew, COVID happened.
Yeah. But so then the second half of that match, you have Drew kind of asserting his dominance within WWE and kind of making it clear that he might win this Royal Rumble. And then they hit you with it. They hit you with Edge returning. And as a feel-good moment, I can't name, besides maybe the John Cena one, because that one's close for me in 08. This is one of the best feel-good moments I've ever seen. Because
you go back and watch that, it's hard not to get a little teary-eyed.
I watched the Rumble with someone who had not watched wrestling in 10 years.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and he loved it. It got him out of his seat, even though he hadn't watched in a while.
The Edge thing was one of those times you were just talking about where I really wish I wouldn't have been smartened up, because I knew it was coming. I knew he was going to be in there. So if I would have just heard that "You Think You Know Me" and not had no idea that he was coming back, it would be like I would have been. What? Yeah.
It was one of those things where we all kind of knew it was coming, and we were like, "This is happening." And even when his music still hit, you're like, they did the right thing. They brought him back. Here he is. This is legit. And then the fact that he hit the ring and the only person that's between him and the ring and the only guy standing is AJ Styles, that fucking excited me.
And then they missed the first spear he does in years.
The funny thing is, Tony, what you just explained about he was coming, because with what I'm going to talk about, they literally did advertise him. It wasn't a surprise. He's coming, but when that music hits, and it's for me, and then this is the one that I get that feeling with, it was Mr. Perfect. It was I'm a kid again. Mr. Perfect is in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So witnessing...
It's an age thing. It's an age gap thing.
Yeah. Witnessing someone who hasn't watched wrestling in a while react the way he did, that solidified it for me. That Rumble from start to finish was just really well crafted.
I really like that Rumble a lot.
Fun thing for me, I left a wrestling fan as Edge is a Brood member. And then hearing that he's the world champion and someone who took for example, I have a buddy Steve, and Steve doesn't really watch wrestling, but he just reads people's negativity about wrestling, right? Now, as one thing as wrestling fans, if you want to have people come in and enjoy your entertainment, you probably shouldn't shit on every 30 seconds. So you know what I mean? So the fact that he heard when Drew McIntyre won the Rumble and won the WrestleMania, Fulton's you're talking about the Drew McIntyre, that fucking dude with a clean shaven face, and the guy he remembers 3MB Drew McIntyre, and now he's world champion. That was Edge for me. And then I came back and then rewatched Edge run, and I was like, this dude put fucking work in. You know what I mean? He was entertaining.
That was me with Shawn Michaels, the guy from the Rockers. The guy from the Rockers won the Rumble. I still been watching. I just never bought him as that type of guy. And obviously, now I understand how great he is. But when he won that Rumble in '95, I'm like, because he was gone for a while before that. He had a contract dispute. Yeah. And then he comes back and he wins the Rumble. I'm like, him? Really? Before he came in, I thought, when we're going to that Rumble, who's going to win? Luger? And then at the end, I'm like, oh, Davey Boy's going to win. And Shawn Michaels?
Yeah.
If you look back, it's obvious.
If I was reading dirt sheets back in the day, I probably would have just as much disdain for Shawn Michaels as the rest of you. But
oh no, it wasn't even that. That was 95. I was 12 years old. It wasn't. I actually did start reading dirt sheets in 95, but it was later. I was 13, but or no, I was 12. I was 11 when he won that Rumble. But yeah, no, it wasn't anything like that. It's just he's gonna be. Because I thought he was an Intercontinental Champion level guy.
Yeah, I watched the whole way through. He was a rocker to the singles. I was in love with that dude. He was my favorite. I haven't had a guy that I've been super high on as Shawn Michaels. I mean, there was a little bit for Jericho, but then the Jericho thing, it's just he's there. I'm happy Jericho's there. I think the next guy for me who solidified that spot was he's my guy, and I'm just a huge fan of him. Right now in wrestling, it's probably Kevin Owens. Okay. The first, I seen him, and everyone's like, "Oh, you should like this guy," and then I just seen Kevin Owens. I'm like, "That's me." He's a chubby dude who looks like he shouldn't be a pro wrestler, but the way he goes out and sells a match and the way he acts and carries himself, I'm a fucking huge fan of Kevin Owens. I love Kevin Owens. If he does Patreon, but if what we think may happen or what I think would want to happens this Rumble, that would be Shawn winning the belt for me. Okay. If it happens at Rumble. Yeah. But anyway,
we'll wait until the Patreon bust your hopes and dreams.
Yeah. We'll get there. But yeah, so
I'm excited when Kevin Steen debuts for AEW. That's what
Listen, and if he goes somewhere else, I'm following him.
Yeah.
Like if he leaves, he's that much of a push for me that I would follow it. Like I'm already watching all wrestling anyway, but I'm really big on him. I think he's really good at what he does.
I don't see him going anywhere.
Yeah, and Shawn at the time watching Shawn Michaels, he looked different than everybody else. Everybody else was a bigger dude, and Shawn, and I was the little guy my whole life. I was always a small kid, so watching Shawn beat big guys inspired me. And now
this is why I always like King Kong Bundy.
and now Kevin Owens
Not really.
is a guy with a shitty beard and has a pug nose like me, and he's kind of chubby, and he goes out and wins the world title and beats up John Cena.
He's a good talker,
and I'm like, this is my boy.
And in the '80s, not so much WWE, but everywhere else, as long as you were a good wrestler and good talker, it didn't really matter what you looked like.
Absolutely. Anything else on Rumble 20 before we get out of here?
Nah, I think I covered everything I had to say about it.
They're enjoyable.
Yeah.
This one is going to be obviously in the Thunderdome this year, but I don't know. We'll see.
So if you want to join us over at Patreon, like I said, it's $5 to get, and as soon as you sign up, you will get access right away. We're gonna wrap up here, and you will get the live stream of us going live again exclusively for Patreon, and we're gonna talk all things Rumble. And then if you miss it, you can go back and watch the replay. If you want to subscribe for just $1 and get a shout out, we'll do that too. We do sneak some shout outs in there. We probably shouldn't because now people are kind of paying for them, but it's all about support, man. We want to thank you everyone for tuning in and hanging out with us. Anything in closing you guys want to put out there besides plugs?
Already plugged.
Yeah. No, everything that's running through my mind now is stuff we want to talk about in a little bit here because we're all going to be about this upcoming Rumble.
Yeah. Anything, Andy?
No, we got it all covered.
No. All right. Thank you guys so much. And once again, thank you to Bryan and now Kyle joining in late. You guys go check out the UWO podcast. Hopefully there's some collaboration coming in the future and have those guys join us and vice versa. Show our buddies love over at High Tension. And we'll see you guys soon. Make sure you follow us on all social media. Links are below. And show some love to Billy, our intro music. We're out of here. See you guys next time.
You ain't first, you're last.
If you ain't first, you're last.
The Rumble.
Ricky Bobby, number 1.
JEW.